Kill Bill 3. Part 3. Chapter 20. Maybe Emma might want to star in Volume 3 as Bibi, the daughter of the bride. The actress who played Bibi, Perla Haney Jardine, in Volume 2 might be too young. Instead, let Emma play the role. Bibi is 23. She is an FBI agent and working on a murder case of a serial killer named Brad who kills brides in their wedding gown. She is in charge of the investigation even though she is 23. Regardless, there are no rules in QT movies. We can even go back in time and change history of the world like Inglourious Bastard if it's necessary. Beatrix Kiddo aka the bride is the most wanted woman in the world. There is a price on her head, millions of dollars, dead or alive. Not only she is wanted by Junior, who is the illegitimate son of Bill, whom he had been secretly supporting and had passed all his fortune to, he's hunting for Beatrix and can't wait to see the bride burns on a stake in a wedding gown. But she is also wanted by one of the meanest Japanese underworld bosses named Vincent. Oren Ishii and Vincent were lovers. He's left heartbroken and has vowed to extract revenge at all cost, so Oren's soul will rest in peace at last. Vincent visits her grave every Friday and leaves a rose on her tombstone. He's the head of Yakuza, a major organized crime syndicates in Japan. Actually, the bride is wanted by a lot of villains, including Sophie Fatale, whom the bride cut off her hand in Volume 1. Sophie has got genetic artificial arm. It's as good as the old arm like the Terminator. She looks normal. Though she has hired the army of the devil, hundreds of mercenaries, to get even with the bride. She actually offers $150 million whoever brings a severed head of Beatrix on a plate. Since she is a lawyer and once had represented Oren Ishii and fluent in English, Japanese and French, she actually made billions through business and connection that she has with Yakuza, who controls the Japanese media, computer technology and information system and various illegal activities despite the fact there is a talk Sophie might inherit Bill's money in the potential Part 3. Yet, she was involved with Sony, who made her CEO, while representing some of the most notorious members of the Yakuza for millions and Yakuza itself in the biggest lawsuit in the history of Japan, the government vs. the Yakuza, accused of all kinds of criminal activities, including media monopoly, inside trading and various counts of security fraud of Asian stock market, money laundering, embezzlement, drug manufacturing and trafficking, illegal weapons production and distribution, murder, computer software piracy, copyright infringement, kidnapping, prostitution, high-class escort service like LA Confidential, extortion of top Japan's official and selling classified government files and important information to China, Korea, and USA. It was an effort to get rid of organized crime in Japan and make Yakuza illegitimate as well as to put the bosses in prison the rest of their lives. Not only had the Yakuza won the case, but they also sue the government of Japan for a record-breaking $100 billion for conspiracy to ruin the organization, which plays important roles in shaping Japan's economy and culture as well as creating billions of works not only in Japan but throughout the world. Sophie took the challenge and lived up to her name. She then started her own production company called Fatale Pictures, producing films and television shows as well as involving in various computer software businesses. She has a luxurious car company called Sophie that manufactures all kinds of breathtaking automobiles including Sophie 452, the most expensive car in the solar system, and has ended up making more money than Bill Gates, which allowed her to gather all kinds of information regarding to Beatrix. Yet, that is not even half the bride's problem. She has to deal with the ghost of Gogo Yubari whom the bride killed in the bar. Her father Nakata happened to be the leader of Sumiyoshi Kai's second largest Yakuza group in Japan. Nakata has been looking for her to extract revenge for his daughter. Sophie also gave information of the bride to families of victims, whom the bride killed while she was working for Bill, including Italian mob bosses, Colombian drug lords and Mexican cartels, corrupted government employees, Chinese heroin dealers, Eastern European gangsters, Russian mafias and Black Furious Panthers, which manufacture drugs and sells them in African American neighborhood like New Jack City starring Wesley Snipes. All of them are looking for Kiddo. Quentin would say they are prepared to scour the earth for Beatrix. If she goes to China, they want a bitch hiding in a bowl of rice, ready to pop a cap in her ass. He eats a cake named Selena. Junior, might be played by Chris Hemsworth. He runs a deadly felony assassination squad like his father. He has trained 5 girls whom he named after cats instead of serpents. Cheetah, Lynx, Jaguar, Leopard and Sadie aka Tiger played by Blake Lively. She is Junior's girlfriend and the deadliest them of all. She is the equivalent of Beatrix or Ellen Drive. Yet if there is a Volume 4, we will add a couple of cats, including Serval, Ocelot, Caracal, Puma, Wildcat, Chinese desert cat and Likoi, a domestic breed cat, that looks like a werewolf. We might see some of them in Junior's movies that he made in Volume 3 intermixed with the actual cats hunting in their natural habitat. Junior is a filmmaker, a director. Regardless, there will be a lot of breathtaking martial arts that have never seen in cinema. Junior is Lion aka Pride. He owns a couple of big cats. He feeds people, who cross him, to those wild cats. Junior also runs a couple of underground clubs that run high-stake gambling as well as strip clubs and erotic sex houses here and there. There are always people who want the piece of the action, including Italian mobs, European gangsters and corrupted politicians, and they had threatened him without the knowledge who he was. Once a couple of politician and Italian mobs told Junior if he didn't give them briefcases filled with a lot of cashes, they would skin him alive. Figuratively speaking meant either they would expose him or burn his places or kill him. Instead Junior sent his cats to take care of them. The cats eradicated all of them as if they were bad omen. Junior fed some of them to his hungry big cats after he sliced their faces. These ferocious cats jumped on their faces and bite their brain savagely as Junior watched in sadism. He would have loved to join them in the feast, but he has always preferred to keep things imperceptive and separate himself from animals, even though he does not really believe cats are ordinary animals like dogs, pigs, and some human beings. They are their own creations. However, nothing gives Junior great satisfaction watching his foes in the jaws of his big cats eaten alive brutally. Regardless, nobody fucks with Junior or offers to fuck with him. He doesn't like people who tell him what to do or compromise his principles unless they are irresistible, like Abby Lee, the girl from Mad Max. They usually find themselves at the bloodthirsty mercy of his cat's blades. Erstwhile, the cats bury bullets in the hearts or skulls of those fools whose days are expired, till their brains splatters into tiny pieces. Some just die in their sleep with knives jabbed in their throats or swords in their solar plexus. Written from Bill Jr., with love, which Tiger loves to do to those who committed the cardinal sin of pissing off Junior. He usually sends Sadie if it's personal. Sometimes, she sneaks up on them while they are sleeping, puts them unconscious with nerve gas. She then cuts their chests with her sparkling blade while they are still alive and removes their hearts, brings them to Junior while their hearts still beating outside their bodies, figuratively speaking. Sadie has never let him down. Junior and Sadie are lovers. They have a lion cub, a baby tiger and 4 domestic furry cats as pets. Junior and Tiger cut the hearts into small pieces and feed fresh raw human hearts to their cats. Sadie loves to cook for Junior. She then sings and strips for him. They then make love. The thing about Sadie is she loves to assassin. Actually, Junior just does hits for high-profile cases in order to keep his fierce assassin cats sharp mentally as well as emotionally. He doesn't really need the money, even though he charges millions for a single hit, in case, if he needs money to shoot big-budget films. Sometimes, he would just send his cats to rob banks or take dirty money from drug dealers or steal caches that cops confiscated from drug lords. His cats would always carry out the missions without missing a single beat. We might see it in quick flashback as they carry out the deed if it's absolutely necessary. Junior writes screenplays, finances, produces and directs the films himself. He has made all kinds of martial art films. They are ultra-violent. Blood flows like rivers in Inferno. Yet, he has amazing taste of music. In the sense, Junior is a little bit like Quentin Tarantino in an alternative universe. In the meantime, he knows BB is his half-sister. BB and the bride have changed their name to the point of having to fake their death. In computer database, when their names are typed, their records show they are deceased with their pictures on the corner of the screen. They have used various names in order to elude the bad guys. BB has settled for Betty for now, and Beatrix has changed her name to Jessica. She has dated here and there but never involved in serious relationship due to the fact she is wanted by every merciless assassin throughout the world and has made raising BB her top priority. They are forced to move throughout the world as well, the United States, Latin America, Australia, Europe, Asia, and Africa. Kiddo and BB wouldn't stay in one place more than a year, and Kiddo had been making a living writing comic books. She has used various bogus names and sell the books online. That's her main income, along with millions of dollars that she made through assassination when she used to work for Junior as the deadliest them of all. She has invested in software and computer-based business in Silicon Valley. It has brought her quite fortune. Yet, it was not really that hard to get fake passports. She knew where to go and who they were. It was part of her job to track down her preys and terminate them as an assassin. She had used that instinct for advantage to find those who forge identities as well as create fake passports, change files, and produce phony paperworks, and she managed to move around the world without a trouble while making sure BB was safe at all time. Beatrix had also kept herself in the best shape of her life, doing push-ups, yoga, jogging, practicing various martial arts and meditation. Sometimes, she practices in the middle of the night after BB fell asleep in case if she would run into those who want her dead. Actually, she had run into a couple of them and been forced to kill and get rid of the evidence while she was in Miami, Venice, Rio, Madrid, and Marseille. She had to take out army of assassins in France. We might see it in quick flashback as she dispatches them into pieces with amazing martial art. Yet in spite of those few incidents, mostly BB and Kiddo managed to keep low profiles. BB was homeschooled till 10th grade. They finally decided to return back to Los Angeles and hid under everybody's nose. BB went to a Catholic high school and learned a couple of things here and there. Yet, she has always been interested in crime. BB did not have any friend growing up and had always loved to watch movies. Everything she knows in life, she learns them from films. She likes murder mystery and solving cases before the actors figure them out, which ended up inspiring her to be FBI. She is the best by far, can see the killers by touching the victim's hands and might have a supernatural power. Wait, let's not get carried away too much. Instead we might want to keep it simple. She does not see the killers. However, she is possessed with exceptional insight and sometimes, sees them in her dream. She senses where the bad guys might be. Like I just mentioned earlier, in Quentin's films there are no rules. She just goes out and kills them like. Meanwhile, we are introduced to Nikki. She has been training day and night to extract revenge. She is the daughter of Vernita Green, who was a former member of the Deadly Viper assassin squad and took a part in the killing of 8 innocent people as well as the beating of the bride in a church in El Paso, Texas. She knew what was coming. Nikki witnessed the death of her mother on the hand of Kiddo. Actually, Nikki has been teaching herself Kung Fu and Taekwondo and has mastered the art of combat through new martial art videos that teach fighters advance Kung Fu step by step, going to Korean martial art schools as well as watching old Chinese martial art films. She even invented her own style of fighting like Bruce Lee, which she called the way of free floating. This audio file was created by Panopreader Basic. You can download it at www.panopreader.com. It's a fighting style done with finesse, grace, and beauty. She fell in love with the whole martial art concept and forget about extracting revenge. She didn't even know why she was put in this world and chose to embrace the splendid side of the art. Nikki just wants to dance and make love to the air, floating like a butterfly, like the peace in the mind of Buddha, and get lost in the art of Kung Fu. She has conquered her demons through meditation. Yet, memory can be the ultimate curse and she might be diagnosed with schizophrenia. She still sees her mother with a dagger punctured deep in her chest. Vernita pulls the knife out of her chest and talks to her daughter in illusion. She reminds her how much she loves her and has missed being her mother in flesh and blood. Beatrix took her away from her. Vernita has caved Nikki's brain and buried vengeance deep in the subconscious of her daughter's mind in vain. Nikki is a walking trinitrotoluene. She might explode anytime. Quentin might say she is a mushroom cloud lion. Whenever she sees vision of her mother, she becomes Superfly TNT. She is the guns of the Navarone. Nikki is forced to master some of the deadliest martial arts including capoeira, sambo, wing chun, ninjutsu, and krav maga in order to extract revenge and please her mother. Actually, Nikki just wants to get rid Vernita off from her thoughts and enjoy few peace of mind while she can. Yet, Nikki doubts it. Vernita is not her mother anymore but a demon who pretends to be her angel. Vernita has refused to let Nikki breathe, and controls her memories. Sometimes, she comes in Nikki's dreams at night and asks her, "Why did you let that white witch kill me?" Nikki has no answer to that question, just gets up in the middle of the night and runs through the mountains of Los Angeles while coyotes are hunting rabbits. Nikki sees the coyotes. They have eaten energy bars and cookies from her hands as if they were dogs. They're like her pets. Nikki loves to pet them. Some of them know her dearly. Some are acquainted with her demons looking at her soul through her eyes but can only see the reflection of mystery and don't understand what is in her mind. Nikki actually runs into a cougar once while she is running in the middle of the night in Santa Monica Mountain near Malibu. She could kill it with her bare hand, it will if she wants to, or slice his throat with her knife if he gets any closer. They look at each other's eyes and read each other's thought. Yet, the cougar is warned by the living breathing devil inside of her soul that wants nothing but blood. If you leave now, you will live longer. Get near me, you will die a violent death. Eternal pain will be printed in your gene and fear that you have never seen in your life will be passed on to your ancestors backward for centuries as well as forward to your relatives' generation to come. It turns into human and walks away quietly. It's some kind of supernatural force, beyond Nikki understanding. She has never seen anything quite like it or felt equal to God for a moment. However, like crime and misdemeanor, God is a luxury that she cannot afford. She is always at the far end of peace spectrum, past chaos. Nikki is chaos herself without order to God's order without wickedness. She thrives in passion, pain, pandemonium, and madness even though she desires peace more than anything else. Regardless, she hires a personal trainer named Roger to work on her speed, flexibility, and reflection and to teach her some conditioning and disciplines as well as to push her to the limit. He is a Marine who trained in Marine Corps martial art program and has mastered in the art of Muay Thai, Silat, and Judo. But he has to quit after she beats him senselessly. Roger couldn't catch up with her. Nikki just lost it and picked him apart in frustration. Actually, it was the vision of her mother deep in her memories. Vernita cuts her chest, removes her heart and shows it to Nikki while it's still beating. She whispers in the subconscious of Nikki's mind telling her she has to kill him in order to prepare herself psychologically. She must taste how it feels to take life. It's orgasmic. Nikki uses some of the deadliest martial art that she has mastered and puts Roger in coma. She then has to tend him for days like the English patient, bringing him soup and all. Nikki lives alone in a huge mansion. Her father is a doctor. He supports her financially. Yet, she gets money directly from Sophie to train and gather information about the bride. Actually, Nikki is an FBI agent and working on the serial killer case with BB. She doesn't know BB's mother killed her mother. They are best friends but they don't share secrets. BB has never introduced her mother to anybody. In fact, BB and Kiddo have been living separately for a while. BB has fake photos of a woman named Latoya, whom she tells friends she is her mother but she is dead, so she will not draw attention and can also avoid suspicion. Nikki is not really looking for the bride at this particular moment. She knows Kiddo is one of the most dangerous women in the planet. She has studied her case throughout her life. Her reputation precedes her. Nikki wants to make sure she is in the best shape of her life before she confronts Kiddo. In the meantime, BB has been training martial arts secretly. In flashback, we see BB discovering her mother's past. Beatrix had been hiding the truth from her. She didn't want BB to take the same path that she took. She had raised her to be a normal kid even though they had to move around here and there and change their names. She never told her she was an assassin. But BB found out the truth and had been learning martial arts for self-defense as well as to kill those serial killers. Sometimes, she sneaks on them in the night like a ninja and cuts their throats before they get caught, figuratively speaking. As a matter of fact, they are not your typical serial killers. Most of them know infectious martial arts. BB has to fight them to death, kill or be killed. BB had mastered some of the most coveted kung fu. She is taught by the ghost of Master Pai Mi. He has mysteriously revealed to her and taught her some of the deadliest martial arts in the world, including the 5-point palm exploding heart technique and among other things. He trained her till she couldn't feel the beats of her heart. BB tells Pai Mi she cannot go on anymore. This audio file was created by Panopreader Basic. You can download it at www.panopreader.com. She's in a lot of pain. I can't feel anything in my body. Master Pai Mi tells her life is pain. Get used to it. You must go on unless you want to taste death. She goes on to train harder and give everything she had. Pai Mi trained her till her soul explodes inside her body. We don't know why he is teaching her. Pai Mi doesn't really believe in revenge even though Ellen Drive, who had lost both her sight, has managed to get one of her eyes back, left eye, which was snatched by Kiddo. She acquired it through expensive medical procedure with the help of Sophie despite the fact the bride stepped on her eyeball. We might see the drama in quick flashback. The connection in her eye optic didn't damage. The doctors place Eagle's eye in Ellen's eye. It glows at night. Yet, Ellen continues to wear an eye patch, which means her right eye that was snatched by Master Pai Mi may never be fixed. Pai Mi might be satisfied with that even though she poisoned and killed him. But I doubt it. He refused to enter Nirvana and is waiting for her in hell. Regardless, Ellen Drive has been looking for Kiddo as well. Yet, she has calmed down lately after she gave birth. She is now married and raising a 4-year-old daughter named Etta with her husband Jeremiah, who runs an online business and writes software program for a major software company in Silicon Valley. Someday, Etta might be a star in the future and seek revenge like Nikki if BB or Kiddo kills her mother in front of her. It depends on the story. We might have to ask ourselves if Ellen is interested in revenge at this point. There is no question about it. She sees Beatrix in a wedding gown every time she looks at herself in the mirror. In the meantime, she has gotten herself in business as CEO of Google as well as making billions with her husband Jeremiah in Silicon Valley of quantum computer software that he wrote, which allows customers to access information faster than light. She might not be obsessed in carrying out revenge herself. Yet she has paid millions to every assassin in the world to kill Kiddo and bring the bride's both of her eyes in an ice bucket without ices but a sedimentary rock, so she could squash them with it. Wait, I have an idea. A thought just occurred to me. Let's go back a little bit and keep it more interesting. Since Ellen and Junior were lovers so to speak, they were sexual involved with each other. Instead she was pregnant with Junior's baby when she fought the bride. She then gave birth to Junior's daughter named Elizabeth. She is 19. It might be played by Chloe Grace Moretz. She is an actress and has been taught and mastered some of the greatest martial arts in the world. She usually stars in Junior's martial art films. She is Junior half-sister as well as BB. This is the turning point of the film. Should we leave Ellen blind and allow Elizabeth to seek revenge for her mother? Or let Ellen get at least one of her eyes back through advanced surgeries and teach Elizabeth a couple of kung fu that Master Pai Mi taught her, including Eagle's Claw, in order to extract revenge. Later, she married Jeremiah and has another daughter, Etta, and left vengeance's mine to Elizabeth, who is also a professional assassin in own right, in addition to acting. Elizabeth thinks she doesn't have to do it. But it is business. It is not personal. Ellen paid her millions to assassinate Beatrix. Yet, Elizabeth enjoys making films and has become famous through Junior's martial art films. She is thinking about quitting the assassinating enterprise altogether and wants to focus on acting and modeling. She has been busy filming various films. Elizabeth just has to kill the bride. That's her last assignment. In the meantime, Elizabeth remains under suspicion for assassination that she had been carrying out since she was 14. She's in the FBI suspect watch list. Bibi knows Elizabeth is her half-sister. She has her file as part of her job. But she is caught up with Brad's case, the serial killer who kills brides. He just strikes again. She is called to investigate the case. Bibi comes to the crime scene and looks at the victim. She examines the body. The killer had removed the victim's heart. Bibi has few words with Nikki. They do not know who he is and what they are dealing with. Brad is driven for bride. Sometimes, FBI refers him as the bird. Regardless, he continues to kill brides. We can establish a motive. Who is Brad? Does he have any relationship with the bride? Let me see. I am creating the story as I go. Brad might have witnessed the death of his mother in the hand of Kiddo at her wedding day when he was just a kid. Beatrix might have shot her in the heart, part of her assignment as the member of the Deadly Viper Assassin Squad. But we don't want to ruin the image of Beatrix since we don't know anything about her past. We can assume they were all drug dealers and bad guys, no women no children, like the professional exception of Lisa Woe, even though Junior was one of the most sadistic killers in the world. We have witnessed him putting bullets in the brain of a bride whom he had loved all his life. It's not hard to assume he would send Kiddo to kill a school teacher who gave him C in history or refused to return his greeting in the street, like Paimi who massacred the entire Shaolin monks in a temple after one of them refused to return his nod. He would send her to kill a girl who looks like she fell off an ugly tree and hit every branch on the way down, figuratively speaking. I got that from True Romance. Maybe she were a politician and about to pass a law that disagree with Junior's code of conduct, whatever it's. Or it's possible she could have been called to testify against a man who might have broken the law. The man knew Junior dearly and might have paid him handsomely to take her out. Junior sent Black Mamba. She buried a bullet in her heart through the window in front of Brad while she was trying her wedding gown a day before the holy matrimony. But we just said no women no children, even though Quentin does not believe in that tenet. We can also consider alternative stories. His father shot his mother in the heart at the wedding date after he found out that she was having an affair or had sex with the best man. She was wearing her wedding gown. He fired at her. The bullets exploded in her heart. He then turned the gun into his head and shot himself as Brad watched everything in confusion. It has nothing to do with Beatrix or Junior. Brad then became a serial killer. Let's look at a different motive. According to Hannibal Lecter in The Silence of the Lamb, first principle is simplicity. What is it in itself? What is its nature? What does he do? What needs does he serve by killing? He covets, and how do we begin to covet? We begin by coveting what we see every day. Before we come to any conclusion, let's create a couple of scenarios. His mother used to be a wedding planner like Jennifer Lopez in Wedding Planner, and he might have seen a lot of weddings throughout his life, including a couple of his mother's weddings. She might have been married 3 times and divorced 3 times before she dies of as a single woman. But what needs that serve to Brad? What does he covet? Did she molest him or abuse him like Norman Bates in Psycho? I don't like it. Fuck Hannibal Lecter. Do not let that psychopath get inside of your head. He might be the devil himself. I'm already beginning to envision a lot of things inside my head. This is a martial art movie. It's not murder mystery. We have to get them in action as soon as possible. Instead, the only person who keeps coming to my mind in a wedding gown is Madonna at the MTV Award. Maybe, his mother is an actress who appears in a couple of films including American Bride Part 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, Bride and Groom, The Story of a Bride, The Bride of the Prince, The Bride of King Richard, Bride and the Laws of Marriage, I Do With All My Heart, Sins of the Bride and the Bride of Bobby and Jake, a story about a woman who married 2 outlaws who robbed banks. She also starred in The Bride of Frankenstein remake and later in Mother of the Bride. She died of heart complication or suicide. They found her body sitting in the bathtub filled with rose petals at her Beverly Hills mansion. She was wearing a wedding gown. Brad saw her before the police arrived. Maybe he couldn't let her go. It could be some kind of Oedipus complex. That is not it. I have always thought Oedipus complex sounds like a mythology. It doesn't feel real. He just missed her. So he kills brides and removes their heart to preserve her memory as long as possible. Maybe that is Oedipus complex. But who care? Since it's a martial art film, Brad is martial art expert. He uses a special martial art technique that allows him to cut through their skins with his bare hand and snatch out their hearts. We might see Brad in flashback as he removes their hearts from the chest without a knife. He's not interested in Kiddo but might be obsessed with Bibi. He is following every step that she takes. Actually, he is a cinematographer. He records his victims before he kills them. I think the killing of the brides might serve him to get deep into the characters that he is creating. But something is bothering me. I am still looking for what he is coveting. Should I had a knife? There is nothing sexy about snatching a woman's heart out without cutting her breast. It reminds me the restaurant fight scene in Dumb and Dumber when Jim Carrey removes the heart from the chef and puts it in a paper bag. I have to work on that part. In the meantime, we can void the idea of removing their hearts with his bare hand due to the fact it looks comical. I might have to sneak a knife into the mix and make it a little bit more serious, which also serves us some form of covet. It could be sexual, depends on how it is interpreted. Brad tells them to put their wedding gowns and sit in the bathtubs. He then strangles them with a knot or electric wire, cuts their wedding dress with a scissor, slices their breasts with a knife and removes their hearts like a surgeon. BB comes to the crime scene and finds the brides sitting in the bathtub soaked in their own blood instead of rose petals. Wait, I keep getting carried away. I might use that idea for another movie titled The Devil May Care. The killer places bathtubs in the middle of the living rooms, forces his victims to wear wedding gowns and make them sit in the tubs. He then strangles them with a chain. Instead, in Kill Bill 3, we can add another serial killer named Ted like Scream starring Neve Campbell, or a male and a female serial killers like Mickey and Mallory in Natural Born Killers. No, that's a bad idea. Mickey and Mallory are cool. I like them. They love each other more than life itself. Let's stick with two male serial killers. Ted records Brad as he rapes his victims after he forces them to put their wedding gowns. Brad then cuts their breasts with a knife and remove their hearts as Ted continues to record in voyeurism. But some might say two serial killers are a lot. It can only work in horror films. Most murder mystery movies have only one serial killer. I'm a little bit confused myself. I keep mistaking it with a murder mystery instead of martial art. I can envision BB taking both of them at the same time and tearing them apart as if they were rag dolls. However, Brad and Ted have amazing martial art skills and might give BB something that is worth to ponder even though they are serial killers. We can bend few rules. Let's stick with that format. I will have Emma Stone looking for a psychopathic serial killer in The Devil May Care. He kills women in general. They don't have to be brides. He just forces them to put a wedding gown and murder them. I will add a couple of psychological twists. The victims find themselves in hidden dimensions where there are various temptations and sexual fantasies fulfilled as if they were in some kind of Garden of Eden and wedding gowns and bathtub are waiting for them. It might be a game as well. Sometimes, the girls find themselves in dark and erotic universes and bizarre places in dream-like sequences consummated with sexual desire. The killer completes their sexual fantasies, murders them and puts his victims in bathtubs filled with blood, black motor oil, milk, whiskies, wine, human body parts like hearts, lungs, brains, and livers and others. It could be the devil whom Emma is looking for, or a saint, or a fallen angel, or Jesus Christ, or an alien. He is extremely creative. He guides his victims through various sexual illusions, pure and innocent wonders in the garden of tender speculation and roses, erotic kisses, seductive pains, blood and murkiness, dream or nightmare, beautiful sins and titillating matrix universes where the law of nature can be bent in all kinds of sexual positions and no principle whatsoever, figuratively speaking. It doesn't matter whether it's light or dark. It depends on the women. This audio file was Kill Bill 3, Part 2. He can read their souls through their eyes, gives them what they want and takes their last breath. Emma takes the journey and involves with the killer sexually. They make love a couple of times here and there. He sets her soul free. In the end, she finds out he is the killer, shoots and kills him. I don't know what it is really about. I just made it up now as I go. It's a fantasy murder mystery. I will work on it when I get free time. You know, add all kinds of crazy things including seraphs, cherubs, saints, fallen angels, S&M sex, wolves, beasts, snakes, rats, crows, graves, ghosts, demons and evil forces, and drop heaven and hell on the subconscious of the audience's mind that is going to stay with them for a while, or I will use a simple formula. Emma would look for a serial killer who kills women, then dresses them in a wedding gown and places them in bathtubs filled with flowers and round candlelight without extra dimensions like Clarice Starling played by Jodie Foster in The Silence of the Lambs. Yet in Kill Bill 3, we have two serial killers even though one of them just records or might involve in the act. It makes no difference. Let's get them in the action. Vincent, who is one of the most notorious gangsters in the world and has been involved in various illegal activities, including drug trafficking, finds out where the bride is hiding through one of his connection at the DEA office in Los Angeles. Beatrix is dating undercover DEA agent named Kevin. Let's look at it in flashback. Beatrix is shopping at a supermarket. She sees Kevin, who is buying grocery. He has seen her too. Beatrix is attracted to him. Minutes later, at the open parking lot of the supermarket, Beatrix comes to her car carrying grocery. She opens the passenger door to put the grocery in her car. An orange falls out of her grocery bag and rolls down on the ground. Out of nowhere appears Kevin, picks the orange up and gives it to her. She thanks him. They strike up a conversation. He sweeps her off her feet with sweet talks and charismatic smiles. Kevin then asks her out. She agrees reluctantly. He walks away. She gets in her car and drives home. Beatrix takes a shower. We cut to Kiddo as she sits in front of a mirror and applies a red lipstick on her lips. Beatrix then puts a beautiful dress. Kevin picks her up. They watch a martial art movie. They have dinner at a romantic restaurant and dance slow. They then take a walk in the park, conversing, stand face to face and gaze at each other's eyes quietly. He kisses her lips. They kiss more intimately in the moonlight and make love at Kevin's house. In the morning, Kevin takes her picture while she is sleeping in beauty without her knowledge and saves it in his computer, like Colombiana staring Zoe Slanda. Later, a colleague named Tony at the DEA office hacks into Kevin's computer looking for some drug information. He sees Beatrix's photo, recognizes her and contacts Vincent in the phone. Vincent sends more than 100 Japanese mercenaries to USA in 3 planes to take her out. They come in the middle of the night to kill her. In the meantime, we might go back and correct few things. Bibi has a fallout with her boyfriend, come to see her mother and decides to spend the night at her mother's house. In flashback or nonlinear storytelling, we see Bibi looking at the dead body of the last victim at the morgue. A forensic technician explains to her the cause of her death. Bibi gets a call from Nathan, her boyfriend, who is driving a Mercedes convertible in the street of Los Angeles. We see a couple of expensive paintings in the back seat. One of the paintings is the portrait of Bibi in a motorcycle. He is an artist. Nathan asks Bibi to come and check out his gallery. Bibi tells him she is in the middle of working on a case and might not make it. He tells her she should check it out if she has free time. They hang up their cell phones. Bibi listens to what the forensic technician has to say about the victim as he continues to explain the cause of the death. Later, FBI headquarters, Bibi sits behind her computer and looks at the profile of the victims. On the soundtrack, we listen to Alanis Morissette Hand in My Pocket. We see a couple of dead brides about 3 or 4. She then calls Boggy Man. He speaks to her with his cell phone. We don't see his face. It's a coffee shop. He is working on his laptop while sipping black coffee. He listens to what she has to say carefully. We don't hear what they are saying due to the music on the soundtrack. Boggy Man types the information on his computer, checks a couple of things and tells her what she needs to hear. We are at Nathan Art Gallery. We see all kinds of martial art paintings. Some of them are the paintings of Bibi. The guests are mingling while sipping champagne. Nathan is conversing with 2 attractive girls. Bibi comes to the gallery. She's wearing a beautiful red dress. Nathan looks at her, cannot believe how gorgeous she looks, excuses the girls and walks up to her. They kiss on the lips intimately. Out of nowhere Nathan produces a rose and gives her the flower. She beams in a beautiful smile. A server carrying a tray of champagnes is about to pass by them. Nathan stops him, grabs 2 champagnes and gives Bibi a glass of champagne. They cheers and take sips. They talk about their days as they look at the paintings. She then looks at the Boggy Man standing alone in the shadow. We still don't see his face. Bibi excuses Nathan and walks toward Boggy Man. He approaches her as well and gives her a file. She takes the file and gives him an envelope filled with dollars. Boggy Man puts the envelope in his pocket, tells her to be careful and walks away. His face remains concealed from the audience. Bibi gets back to Nathan. He asks her who that man was. She tells him he is a friend. Boggy Man finds information about serial kills and gives Bibi the files. She doesn't tell that to Nathan. In flashbacks, we see Boggy Man handing her all kinds of classified information of serial killers. Bibi always pays him cash. Boggy Man's face is hidden from the audiences to keep it secret. Bibi then would go out and kill those psychopaths. Some of them challenge her with amazing martial arts. Yet in the end, she kills all of them violently. There are always beautiful theme songs in the soundtrack when Bibi fights her foes. We return from the flashback and find Bibi and Nathan at a romantic restaurant. They order foods. She excuses him and goes to the ladies' restroom with the file. She looks at the record. We see the photos of Brad and Ted. She makes sure the restroom is empty and then retrieves a tennis bag from the roof seal. It contains all sorts of weapons, guns, swords, and a unique weapons that looks like an antenna. It's a sword. There is a yellow suit like her mother in Kill Jr. or Bruce Lee in the Game of Death. She removes her dress and puts it on. She takes out a smaller bag from the main bag and puts a couple of weapons in the bag, including the sword that looks like antenna. It has history behind it. In quick flashback, we see the story behind the sword. Once upon a time in Japan, Bibi was a 12-year-old girl hiding in Okinawa with her mother. On the soundtrack, SIA's Chandelier play. Walking in the street of Okinawa, Bibi found a radio antenna on the ground, picked it up and instinctively pretended to fight against a samurai. She did a couple of tricks with the antenna. Yet, she had no knowledge of Hattori Hanzo was standing and watching her. He was impressed with her skill, even saw the invisible samurai that she was fighting against in her delusion and decided to make a weapon that looked like an antenna. He spent days making the weapon from pure steel. Yet instead of pulling it like a regular antenna, he had a little twist to it. When you click a button, sword springs out like Lisa's sword in Star Wars. Hattori Hanzo gave her the weapon without her mother knowledge. She practiced day and night by herself pretending to be fighting samurais. On the soundtrack, we continue to hear Chandelier. Actually, BB is combating mystical Japanese warriors. They are helping her training. We cannot see where the sword is going to be like a particle in quantum physics. It's everywhere at the same time. It is like a helicopter blades when she spins it. We do not know where it is going to strike till she cuts a samurai into pieces. It is also light as feather but stronger than an axe. We have never seen anything quite like it, except in old Chinese martial art films. When I was a kid, I saw a weapon that takes a person's head off in a blink of an eye as if life were a box of chocolate and they never knew what they were going to get till their head disappeared from their neck and shoulders. We are not going crazy like that unless it's absolutely necessary. We are back to the restroom. BB places her clothes and the file in the main bag and puts it back in the roof seal. She carries the small bag with her and exits through the window like a ninja. BB gets in her yellow motorcycle and rides down the street with full speed. She is not wearing a helmet. On the soundtrack, SIA Elastic Heart mixed with dance song play. Brad and Ted are making an action movie at the Universal Studio, outside. Ted is behind the camera. Brad is in the middle of combating a couple of ninjas, about 10, with a fake sword. It is a film. BB comes to the set riding her motorcycle, stops nearby and gets down from her bike. Brad and Ted know what is up, so do the ninjas. She takes out her antenna weapons and presses a button. A sparkling steel springs out. The bad guys drop their fake swords, grab real weapons and surround her. BB looks at all of them like Bruce Lee in The Big Boss when he was surrounded by the bad guys outside the ice factory. She knows right away they have no chance against her. They attack her. BB cuts and kills all of them in a blink of an eye like an invisible warrior. Brad and Ted are not impressed. They grab their swords and come after her with everything they got. She is ready for them. She blocks their swords with her antenna. They are fast and coming at her from all angles like lightning and thunderstorm. She continues to block their assault. It is her turn to attack. BB goes after them attacking. They block her sword clashing steels. After a breathtaking sword fight, she cuts Ted's throat in circle and punches him on the stomach. Ted spits out his tongue with a lot of blood, falls down on the ground, and kicks his legs fanatically as his soul is about to separate from his flesh. Blood pours out of his neck shooting toward the sky crookedly in angular shape like a psychotic river due to the movement that he is making while dying till he takes his last breath. BB and Brad go at it. He is pretty good but he cannot match her skill. She cuts Brad's chest in circle and helicopters his entire heart like a blender inside his body. He falls down and dies as blood rocket out of his chest like a water fountain. It's poetic justice. BB gets in her motorcycle and rides away. We cut to BB as she continues to ride down in the streets of Los Angeles passing cars in front of her in zigzag with full speed. She wears no helmet. BB hits the maximum speed and flies like a wind while taking shortcuts and riding in the alleyways. Speedometers shows 230 miles per hour. BB returns to the restaurant. She is wearing the same red dress that she worn earlier, pulls a chair and sits in front of Nathan as if nothing happened. Dinner has already served but the meals haven't been touched and might be a little bit cold despite the fact it took BB 30 minutes to carry out the killing. Nathan asks her where did you go? BB tells him she has to go outside and take a walk in the park to free her thoughts. She adds humorously, did you miss me? He replies more than his heartbeat. Really, she says jokingly. Nathan tells her I am incapable of breathing without you. She thinks that's romantic. They take sips from their wines and gaze at each other's eyes. After a moment of silence, he gives her his hand and asks her if she wants to dance. On the stage, the Wheaton sings Al Green's Let's Stay Together. She takes his hands. They come to the dance floor and begin to dance slow. They converse between soft kisses. They are talking about how much they need each other. The Wheaton then begin to sing I Can't Feel My Face. BB and Nathan begin to boogie with an enchanting dance. She is natural. She dances like a ballerina on fire as if she has danced all her life. He is pretty good as well. They seem to be dancing a little bit like Mia and Vincent in Pulp Fiction. BB is born to dance. Yet as good as he is, Nathan cannot keep up with her. He tries his best as the two lovebirds set the dance floor on fire. They get closer and kiss French. We cut to BB and Nathan as they make love in Nathan's house. BB has a cut on the side of her hip and few other places. He asks her what happened. She says she cuts herself practicing. It does not hurt. They continue to make love as if they were made from each other's breath. This audio file was created by Panopreater Basic. You can download it at www.panopreater.com. It is a little bit of bloody sex. We stay with them with series cuts. Later, Nathan stitches BB's cuts as she lies on her good side without a single drop of cloth. Nathan tells her he wants to know the truth. BB confesses she just killed the serial killers who were responsible for the death of so many innocent brides. Nathan cannot believe what she is telling him. He turns on the television. We see Brad and Ted's faces on the news. The anchor is talking about the incident. Faster than we say Quentin Tarantino, she puts on her clothes, gets in her convertible, starts her car and takes off. BB comes to her mother house without a warning. It's a beautiful villa. It looks like a castle. There are security guards at the door and a couple of surveillance camera. We see swimming pools, beautiful gardens, sculptures, and a water fountain and tennis court. Beatrix collects art as well. BB met Nathan through Beatrix. She was supposed to be at his art show but she could not make it. She has to see a doctor. The security men know BB dearly. They let her in. BB drives down the park and pulls in front of the main house. She gets out of the car, walks to the villa and rings the bell. Beatrix lets her in. They come to the kitchen. Beatrix asks BB if she is hungry. BB says she just had one of the bloodiest sex of her life with empty stomach. I am hungry like a wolf. Beatrix begins to make her pasta. BB asks her mother why she wanted to see her about the other day. What is it about? Beatrix says it is nothing. She thought she was pregnant but it's a false alarm. BB tells her she can't wait to have a brother or a sister and asks her how is her relationship with Kevin. She tells her it's going strong. She thinks he could be the one and BB might finally have a stepfather. Beatrix adds Kevin asked her to marry her and she said yes. She shows BB the engagement ring. BB tells her it is beautiful. BB and Beatrix hug like best friends. They then talk about their love lives and things that are bothering them as they continue to make dinner. In the meantime, we see the mercenaries led by Jason roaming throughout Beatrix Villa like the Colombians in Scarface except they are ninja from Japan. They are moving rapidly and have already killed the security guards. Beatrix looks at a surveillance video in the kitchen and can't believe what she is looking at. There are 3 men standing outside at the door with bazookas. BB looks at them as well. The bad guys fire at the villa. BB and Beatrix hit the floor quickly. As solid as the house is, the bad guys blow it open like hell. BB and Beatrix are on the floor covered with debris and dirt. The bad guys enter the main house through the hole they just created and move throughout the villa. Some of them head toward the kitchen. They are closing on BB and Beatrix who remain on the floor. Beatrix gives BB a sign and takes out little explosive marble-like devices from her pocket and drop them nearby. They roll down the floor, explode creating cloud. BB and Beatrix disappear before our eyes. Seconds later, they reappear wearing yellow Bruce Lee suit and carrying 2 Hattori Hanzo swords and begin to combat the bad guys. Speaking of combat, this is not really a battle. It is a mass murder. BB and Beatrix cut them into pieces. They are a lot of them. It feels like the entire Japan citizens who live in Tokyo put on ninja outfits and come to Beatrix's house to collect her head. BB and Beatrix have to use their guns and blow off their faces at close range. We have never seen anything like this in the history of motion picture. We see brains exploding as if they were rotten tomato. BB and Beatrix don't separate style over substance. They are fast, deadly, lethal and above all merciless. BB thinks this motherfucker's come to kill a woman who gives birth to her. Quentin might say she is not going to have a sense of humor about that. In the meantime, Beatrix not only has to defend herself but she also thinks her daughter finally come to see her and bad luck is happening and wouldn't allow anybody to hurt her even though BB can defend herself from the army of the devil in hell. It's a daughter and a mother thing. They have got each other's back and continue to slaughter the bad guys like animals. BB and Beatrix are covered with blood. The villa looks like a cathedral. But the floor is bathed with lake of blood. BB and Beatrix have to step outside and continue to butcher the bad guys like sins. They kill all of them. Jason is only person alive. Beatrix warns him to leave in peace and tell his boss what he just saw tonight. She adds him I'm feeling pretty raw. It might not be tomorrow or a week from now or when the sun sets low and the moon and the eyes of wolves glow. But someday I will come and collect all the heads of the Yakuza bosses when the clocks on each of my iris points at Tokyo without a thin metal arrow. It's for fucking with her. Jason tells her fuck you, bitch. I will kill both of you, cut your eyeballs out, make soup with them and feed you to dogs. BB says, leave this to me. She covers her eyes with a scarf and challenges him for a duel blindfolded. They go at it like Goliath vs David without his slingshot and stones. That's a bad analogy. BB is a good girl opposed to Goliath. Jason is a bad guy anti-David with or without his slingshot and stones. Regardless, it takes BB only 5 seconds to separate his head from his body with her Hattori Hanzo sword. When we think it is over, we hear last night a DJ saved my life by in deep and see 2 Japanese girls in school dress dancing. A Japanese DJ spins records. The sound is coming from 2 huge speakers. BB and Beatrix look at them in wonder. Where did they come from? They are assassins. Their style are like 2 hitmen with a magical gookin that launches invisible blades in Stephen Chow's Kung Fu Hustle. The girls are holding axes with both of their hands. Bibi and Beatrix think they look cute. The girls are dancing harmoniously. Then all of the sudden, the DJ sends invisible records blade-like weapons at Bibi and Beatrix in a blink of an eye. Bibi and Beatrix do acrobatic move and dodge the weapons that are coming at them, spinning at the speed of light, figuratively speaking. But it's pretty fast. They have to act instinctively. The records hit a couple of flowers in the garden. Some cut few roses. A record takes a head of Venus, sculpture, and they all disappear in the thin air. The DJ sends more records at them as the Japanese girls continue to dance with "Last Night a DJ Saved My Life" while singing. This audio file was created by Panopreader Basic. You can download it at www.panopreader.com. Bibi and Kiddo dodge them again. The records cut more flowers and sculptures in the garden. The DJ continues to throw all kinds of records at them. He does it just with the flick of his wrist. Bibi and Kiddo cut some of the records into pieces with their Hattori Hanzo swords even though they are invisible. Actually, they come at you ghostly invisible and become visible when they contact with objects. It is mystery. Bibi and Kiddo charge at the DJ. Japanese girls stop dancing and stand in Bibi and Kiddo's way to combat. The DJ plays One More Time by Daft Punk. They have swords vs axes fight. Bibi and Beatrix attack them. The Japanese girls block the swords with their axes. It seems the school girls are just playing with Bibi and Beatrix. They are verminous mongooses vs dragon and black mamba. Mongooses are hiding something. They might surprise us soon or later. Meanwhile, the Japanese girls know they won't stand a chance if they continue to combat with axes against Bibi and Kiddo, who mastered the art of samurai sword fighting and whose weapon of choice are Hattori Hanzo swords. Bibi and Beatrix are taking easy on them as well, just having fun. Bibi can split a light beam into half at will, and Beatrix has shed her skin off and doesn't need venom to put a mongoose into sleep that is immune to her taxonomy. She has mastered some of the most lethal kung fu and secret martial arts and turned herself into something phenomenon. She is above Buddha. As a matter of fact, the only reason mongooses are still alive is they are very skillful fighters. They can take the entire USA Marines with the axes if they put some thoughts into it. Yet at the moment, they are fighting two of the deadliest fighters in the world. The fight is even. Each is blocking the swords with an axe and attacks them with another axe. One of the Japanese girl draws Bibi's blood. Her name is Lulu. She cut Bibi in the arm. It's a flesh wound. Bibi cuts Lulu back on the face. Lulu is pissed. She tells her friend Sonia in Japanese, "Let's cut these cunts into pieces, make sushi out of their hearts and feed them to Buddha." I had it enough. They drop their axes and grab swords that rivals Hattori Hanzo. They are made of pure gold and sparkle brighter than the moon even in the night. The DJ plays "Turn Up the Speakers" Afrojack Martin Garrix. The real battle just begin. Hattori Hanzo swords are put to the test the first time. Yet, they don't let down neither Bibi and Beatrix nor Hattori Hanzo, who made the swords. We see fire coming out of the swords literally. These four beautiful women are fighting to death. Bibi and Beatrix are out of this planet. We've never seen anything so natural with swords like them. However, the art of samurai sword fighting are running in Lulu and Sonia's blood vessels. They're going toes to toes with Bibi and Beatrix. Their golden swords seem to be made for Satan and the fallen angels at the Judgment Day. If the goddesses in heaven stand in their ways, they will be cut into pieces as well. Bibi and Kiddo have something to say about that. They might be goddesses in the previous life. The girls continue to clash their swords as fire rocket out of their swords. Then both Bibi and Kiddo deliver the final blow. Bibi splits Lulu's head into half symmetrically without severing it. She hits her on top of her head down and just cuts one side of her head down to her neck perfectly. Bibi then spins around and cut half of Lulu's throat almost at the speed of light. Lulu goes down with her knees. Half of her face falls down on the ground. It is graphic. It does not even give her a chance to utter the word H. Blood gores out of the remaining half of her face while she is still on her knees. Lulu then falls down flat on her face and dies. In the meantime, Kiddo hits the other mongoose 5 pressure points with the heart exploding technique. Sonia takes 5 steps. Her heart explodes inside her body, falls down and dies as well. That upsets the DJ, Taker. He takes out a laser sword like Star Wars and comes after them. That is a joke. He just takes out a machine gun out of nowhere like John Rambo and fires at them. Bibi and Kiddo do acrobats in the air, dodge the bullets, jump into the water fountain and hide. Taker continues to fire at them. In the meantime, he is playing "How Deep Is Your Love" by Calvin Harris. Bibi and Beatrix remain hidden. They are wet. Bibi grabs a gun that happens to be inside the water fountain. She tells Kiddo to destruct him. Kiddo says, "What do you mean destruct him?" Bibi tells her mother jokingly, "Japanese are freak. They love tits. Show him your breasts. I will shoot him between his eyes." Beatrix tells her, "Why don't you show him your breasts? I will shoot him in the throat." BB says she's just fucking with her. She will take him out herself. Taker reloads his weapon and fires at them. Hell of bullets hitting nearby. BB and Kiddo hide deep in the fountain. They then come out of the fountain and keep their head above the water. BB says, never mind. She removes all of her wet clothes and sits inside the water fountain in underwear. She is not wearing a brother. BB asks her mother. Give me your brother. Kiddo removes her bro and gives it to her. BB puts the bro on the tip of her sword as a sign of peace and tells Kiddo, I will destruct him and you shoot him. BB gives Beatrix the gun and waves the peace flag, her mother bro hanging on the tip of the sword. The Taker stops firing at them when he sees the brother nude figure comes out of the water fountain. Mr. DJ Man stops the song. BB tells him to play Hollaback by Gwen Stefani. She will dance for him. He tells her, no, I want you to do lip syncing. He throws her a wireless microphone. BB drops the flag and catches the mic in the air. Taker plays Gwen Stefani's Hollaback. BB does a lip syncing. I'm kidding. Let's try a different thing. Instead BB does karaoke Let Me Blow Your Mind by Eve Ft Gwen Stefani from her memory without looking at the lyrics. But wait, she is in her underwear and her breasts are hanging on her chest like two sweet pink oranges, yet soft, sensitive, and tender like the voices in Helen of Troy. She was going to dance before I brought the lip syncing thing. So let's go back a little bit. The DJ tells her he has better things line up, you are going to like this. He plays Murder She Wrote by Chaka Demus and Pliers. BB digs it and begins to dance exotically with Murder She Wrote, shaking her butts and hips as if she is in a strip club. The DJ is attracted to her sexually. Yet, he focuses on spinning records as he dances in his mind with the princess. BB looks at a gun few feet away. But she trusted her mother to take this son of a bitch out. Kiddo comes out of the water like a mystical flying shark that is capable of breathing out of water, points her gun at the DJ and pulls the trigger. The gun has no bullet. The DJ says, motherfucker, bitches, stops spinning the record, grabs his machine gun and fires at BB. She dives, dodges the bullets, flips in the air, spins on the ground, grabs the gun and fires at the DJ. A bullet comes straight and hits him between his eyes. He falls down and dies at the spot. Music continues to play. BB resumes her dancing with Murder She Wrote. Kiddo joins her. We see hundreds of L.A.P.D. police cars approaching the mansion. Beatrix tells BB to put on her clothes. The nudity will be edited completely. I added it to keep the audiences entertained. We might see it in the director cut. Instead, BB just shoots the DJ between his eyes right after he fires at them or before they jump into the water fountain. Beatrix tells BB they have to change their clothes that are covered with blood, and leave the house quickly. We might have to disappear for a while. BB tells her she is an FBI agent. She doesn't have to run anymore. Kiddo reminds BB it doesn't matter if she is the president of the USA. They will kill her. BB and Beatrix come to the dressing room. The bride has all kinds of beautiful dresses. They put sensual dresses. Beatrix says there is a price on their heads. Government's employees are the easiest targets in the world. It is not that hard to find them. They know where they work. All the contract killers have to do is wait for them across buildings and shoot them in the hearts. BB and Kiddo begin to leave the house. Beatrix adds they might have to fake their death and lay low for a while. The police swarm the place. BB and Kiddo are gone. BB is behind her Mercedes convertible and Kiddo is in the passenger seat. They are driving in the street of Los Angeles. On the soundtrack, Fancy by Iggy Azalea Ft Charlie XCX. BB and Beatrix sings as they continue to drive in the streets of Los Angeles. We might need volume 4. This is going to be deeper than I thought. BB and Beatrix are just warming up. There are a lot of bad guys. We have not even started with the Fierce Cats assassination squad yet. BB is the star of the movie. We might have to focus on her. In Kill Jr. Volume 1 and 2, the bride went after them. She was extracting revenge for beating the hell out of her and Jr. put a bullet in her skull as well as robbing her 5 years of her life. She also thought she lost her unborn baby. In Kill Bill 4, the story will focus on BB. Meanwhile, Beatrix might have to run from every assassin in the solar system. I thought about killing the bride and BB extracts revenge for the death of her mother in the hands of Fierce Cat Assassination Squad and Junior Jr. They murder Kiddo and beat BB without a remorse. Junior crucifies BB on the cross in a wedding gown inside a cathedral. They all watch her take her last breath and leave the church. When we think she is dead, a mysterious force enters BB's soul and she comes out of death. Through meditation and secret martial art that she was taught by the ghost of Master PME, she pulls the ferocious nails measured 9 inches and hammered through her wrists and feet deep into the wood. BB gets down from the cross. She then heals herself, goes after them and kills all of them one by one with amazing martial arts and sword fights. However, I do not want the bride to die. There will be no Kill Jr. without the bride. Quentin might say the words Kill and Jr. not only together but separately are invented for the bride. I can hear his voice warning me, if you kill my girl even in your dream, you better wake up dead, no trial, no judge, straight to execution. You will die next. I am not talking about in a movie. I will kill you in real life personally. I feel like I'm keying his Malibu. But who gives a fuck? He is not even going to look at it. Besides, Quentin usually writes his own scripts. I just put this together, because I am kind of taking journey through my favorite motion pictures, and Quentin is an essential part of cinema. He changed how motion pictures are made. I used to watch his films from the beginning to the end inside my mind without the actual DVDs whenever I got stress. I had memorized some of them back then when I came to Los Angeles and started seeing things that weren't there and would hear voices in my head and all. I would just close my eyes and watch. Mia tells Vincent at Jackrabbit Slim, I do believe Marcellus Wallace, my husband, your boss, told you to take me out and do whatever I wanted. Now I wanna dance, I wanna win. I want that trophy, so dance good. They come to the dance floor and dances like two flamingos. Then the dialogue between Vincent and Julie as they drive down the street of Hollywood. Vincent says, in Paris, you can buy beer at McDonald's. Also, you know what they call a quarter pounder with cheese in Paris? Jules asks him, they don't call it a quarter pounder with cheese? Vincent replays, no, they got the metric system there, they wouldn't know what the fuck a quarter pounder is. Jules asks him, what did they call it? Vincent answers, Royale with cheese. Jules then repeats what Vincent just said, Royale with cheese. Minutes later, Vincent and Jules talk about the difference between oral pleasure and a foot massage. Jules says eating a bitch out and giving a bitch a foot massage ain't even the same fucking thing, touching his wife's feet and sticking your tongue in the holiest of holiest ain't the same fucking ballpark. It ain't the same league, it ain't even the same fucking sport. Jules gives Brett a Bible lesson before Vincent and he shoot him. I then find myself back at Jackrabbit Slim's looking at Mia and Vincent. He brings the subject of how she did a pilot. Mia says, that was my 15 minutes. Vincent asks her what was it. She tells him it was a show about a team of female secret agents called Fox Force 5. Fox, as in we're a bunch of foxy chicks. Force, as in we're a force to be reckoned with. 5, as in there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of us. There was a blonde one, Somerset O'Neill from that show Baton Rouge, she was the leader. This audio file was created by Panopreader Basic, you can download it at www.panopreader.com. Kill Bill 3, Part 3. A Japanese one, a black one, a French one and a brunette one, me. We all had special skills. Somerset had a photographic memory, the Japanese fox was a kung fu master, the black girl was a demolition expert, the French fox specialty was sex. Vincent asks her what her specialty is. Mia says, knives. The character she played, Raven McCoy, she was the deadliest woman in the world with a knife. She was supposed to tell a joke if the show were picked up. Later, she gets OD. Lance tells Vincent how to give an adrenaline shot, you gotta stab her once, but it's gotta be hard enough to break through her breastplate into her heart, and then once you do that, you press down on the plunger, he does that. She comes out of it. Mia tells him the joke, 3 tomatoes are walking down the street, a papa tomato, a mama tomato, and a little baby tomato. The baby tomato is lagging behind the papa and mama tomato. The papa tomato gets mad, goes over to baby tomato and stamps on him and says, catch up. I then watch Butch and Fabienne in the motel room after Butch got in a fight and came out as a winner. He was supposed to lay down his gloves and take a dive in the 5th round. Butch gives Fabienne oral pleasure. Later, Butch asks her where his gold watch is. Fabienne forget it in the apartment. He goes to get it and finds himself in trouble. I escape pawn shop part and come to the motel as Butch comes to pick up Fabienne in a chopper. Fabienne asks him, whose motorcycle is this? Butch says it's a chopper, baby. She wants to know whose chopper is this. Butch tells her it's Zed's. Fabienne asks him who's Zed. Butch says, Zed's dead, baby. Zed's dead. They ride down the street of Los Angeles, which is supposed to be the end if it were a regular movie. But it's Quentin theory where the future happened in the middle. The past takes places at the beginning and at the end. The present takes a Quentin leap. Who can forget Yolanda or Honey Bunny? Any of you fucking pricks move, and I'll execute ever motherfucking last one of ye. Pumpkin tells Julius to open the case. Julius opens it. Gold light shines from the case. Jules takes Pumpkin by surprise. He points the gun at Pumpkin and then sums it up with Ezekiel 25:17. The path of the righteous man is beset on all sides by the iniquities of the selfish and tyranny of evil men. Blessed is he who, in the name of charity and goodwill, shepherds the weak and finder of lost children. And I will strike down upon thee with great vengeance and furious anger those who attempt to poison and destroy my brothers. And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon thee. The end. Of course, there are a couple of memorable characters, dialogue, and storytelling including Capital Coon and the Gold Watch, Esmeralda Villalobos who wants to know how it feels like beating a man to death with bare hands, Vincent and Jules talking about divine intervention after they were nearly killed, fired at 6 times by 357 at close range, and how God came down from heaven and stopped the bullets. Jules says what just happened was a fucking miracle. Vincent then asks Marvin what does he make of all this? And shoots him in the face by accident. The car is covered with blood. Jules and Vincent come to Jimmy's house and ask Jimmy, who is played by Quentin himself, to do them a quick favor. He allows them to make a call. Jules calls Marcellus. He sends the wolf to clean up the mess. The wolf takes care of business like Picasso and leaves with Betty. She is the daughter of Monster Joe, who owns truck and tow company and also disposes bodies. We then find Vincent and Jules at same coffee shop at the beginning of the movie where Pumpkin and Honey Bunny are about to rob. Jules tells Vincent he is quitting the life. He is going to deliver the case to Marcellus and walk the earth like Caine in Kung Fu and get in adventures. Pumpkin and Honey Bunny stick up the place and leave with a valuable Bible lesson which I just mentioned. Vincent and Jules walk out of the coffee shop as well. I remember I was guessing what was in the briefcase. I thought it was supposed to be a metaphor. It is the screenplay for Pulp Fiction itself. Quentin would never tell you that. He doesn't even know what has taken shape in his subconscious mind. Regardless, I like his films even though we have different views. Sometime, he can be ultra-violent compared to my style. I usually find myself in extra dimensions or hidden universes and take advantage of love, romance, passion, and sex despite the fact I have no control whatsoever over some of the things that cause me pain deep in my soul, including zero peace of mind till I see your face in my heart. I then become the happiest person alive. That is why I don't want to put you in these kind of films where I am exercising my demons and talking about the continuation of one of the greatest filmmakers' installment. Actually, I am not really exercising my demons. When I exercise my demons, heaven bleeds till the demons in my balls rejoice and the beast in my heart triumphs like the birth of chaos. Satan and his fallen angels pay dearly as well. I pull guns out of the thin air and bury bullets in the eyes of my enemies at close range while teleporting like Fatality that I told you earlier. I would be multiple places at the same time, cut the bad guys into pieces, shoot them in the heads, curve out their hearts and eat them raw as I kiss your lips and make love to you all night in quantum universes. Blood sprouts out the core of earth like volcano. Then thick blood cut through heaven more blistering than the lava in hell and fall down like waterfall on the subconscious of the Creator. I take it straight to God and confront Him. What the purpose of my soul? Why am I put on earth? What is this passion at the depth of my heart, till I see your eyes? Then I go crazier and want to taste the flesh of my enemies who refuse to give me a peace of mind. Yet, most of them are invisible. There are forces beyond my understanding and live deep in subconscious of my brain feasting on evil thoughts. It could be a glitch in the matrix of the trillions of connections in my brain, which are trying to make sense out of confusion, pain, rage, and life itself. But I doubt it. I am not a fighter but a lover. Maybe it's glimpse of passion on the tip of my tongue when I think about tasting the honey on your lips while you are lying in my heart without a single drop of cloth as I walk down the cathedral in a parallel universe where Satan is holding you hostage at the same time. Wait, instead he crucifies you on the cross and he is keeping eyes on you. I know I have used crucifixion many times. But I cannot help it. I don't have any explanation. It could be my Christian upbringing despite the fact neither heaven nor is earth more astronomic than a grain of sand. There are endless region of spaces which go for eternity at all directions and infinite quantum universes and boundless cosmos and hidden dimensions. Whatever out there, I come with motorcycle, jump in the air, break through the church's window, shoot and kill the bad guys, who stand in my way while teleporting. I would then send Satan back to hell in extra dimension after we have a fight. I would bring you down from the cross, kiss your lips softly and heal all your pain magically. We kiss, make love and live happily ever after. But that's when I am in a good mood. If anyone hurts you, I swear I would bring eternal darkness to the cosmos. Revenge is just a word that sounds sweet in the mouth. There won't be no star in the skies. Maybe when it comes to violent, Quentin has nothing on me. Ironically, it is out of love. However, talking about Quentin, I have something in common with him. We both love films. We breathe, live, eat and dream about films, except he knows every detail, including who wrote them, who direct them and who the cinematographers are. Sometimes, I don't even know the title of the movie. I only know the plots and the actors who stars in the films, including one of my favorite motion pictures, Roxanne, starring Daryl Hannah and Steve Martin, a story about a firefighter who has a big nose. He falls in love with a beautiful girl who studies astronomy, but she sees him as a friend. She is rather interested in a firefighter who is handsome but doesn't know anything about romance. Pinocchio begins to write her love letters pretending to be the good-looking guy whom she is attracted to. Later, Roxanne finds out the truth about the letters and feels betrayed. She gets mad at him. Yet, Roxanne can't help falling in love with him. They kiss and leave their marks on stardust forever. I forgot the title of the movie earlier when I was talking about Daryl Hannon. It was bothering me a little bit. Then all of a sudden the title flashed in the back of my brain few seconds ago. The truth is violent has never curved my enthusiasm, but it serves purpose. Regardless, let's give Kill Junior 3 or 4 a couple of dimensions. We are not going to kill the bride. She is going to fight through pain, nightmare, and bloody sword fighting and gun battles and live to tell one of the greatest stories ever told. We just have to find ways to make it bigger than Kill Junior Volume 1 and 2 without killing the bride. As a matter of fact, we have a couple of interesting characters including Nikki. She will see a lot of action. We might have Samuel Jackson teaching Nikki a couple of martial art. He is her mentor. Should he be Vernita's father? No, that is a bad idea. I want him to have a major role. He is the head of FBI. BB and Nikki work for him. I mean they report to him directly. Samuel assigns them to work on Junior JR and his Fierce Cats assassination squad. In the meantime, he puts them in charge to investigate the slaughtering of Japan's mercenaries at the bride's house. BB and Nikki come to the crime scene and collect evidence. Hundreds of dead Japanese warriors have fallen down. BB acts like she has anything to do with the killings and does her job without drawing any suspicion. The house under a woman named Sarah Luke dead long time ago. In the meantime, Junior just made a martial art move starting Elizabeth under the title of Lady Ice. Actually, it's a martial art and action movie. It's a story about an assassin named Rachel aka Lady Ice who goes around the world and carries out various hits. She works for a man named John who gives her assignment through her computer. Rachel has never met him and doesn't know what he looks like. She then falls in love with a man named Jim. They make love. Later, she gets an assignment to kill Jim. He is a scientist. He works for a major biotechnology company called Life that manufacture new drug called Zalary that rejuvenates cells, corrects and prevents potential genetic error during copying of cells, gives cells the ultimate energy. It also fights stress, increase stamina, and enhance sexual performance. It is billion-dollar industry. Jim is in charge of testing the product. He finds out the product causes cancer despite the fact its reputation to heal cells. He tells his boss Lima about it. Lima addresses the problem to the heads of the company and asks them to stop manufacturing the product or he will expose them. That won't happen. Life, the company, pay millions to a firm that does hits to kill all the lab works. The hit firm sends a couple of contact killers. They come in the night and kill all of them. Yet, when they come to kill Jim, Rachel saves his life. She kills the bad guys, who are sent to murder him, with amazing. Rachel and Jim escape together, hide in a motel and lay low for a while. Later, Jim sends his report to the government. The DA indicts the company, Life, for fraud and various criminal charges. Jim is appointed to testify against the company. With his testimony, not only the company has to shut down but a lot of bosses will go prison for a long time. Rachel gets assignment to kill Jim, so does every contract killer in the world to assassinate him before he testifies. Yet, Rachel is in love with Jim and neither is not going to murder him nor allow anybody to hurt him. Instead, she tells him to hide. Rachel has to find her boss and kill him before he causes too much trouble. Yet, John sends all kinds of mercenaries, who specialize the art of warfare and military action, as well as bloodthirsty assassins, who masters the art of kung fu and sword fight, to kill both of them. They come after her with everything they have including helicopters, tanks, machine guns, and launchers. She kills all of them in one of the most explosive and non-stop action sequences ever filmed from the beginning to the end. She then finds her boss, who knows all kinds of martial arts. They have a fight. She kills him and reunites with Jim. He testifies against the evil company, Life, and the bosses. The judge rules against them. The bad guys go to prison. Rachel and Nathan kiss in the beach. The end. Wait a second. Let's add few twists. This audio file was created by Panopreter Basic. You can download it at www.panopreter.com. The bad guys track Jim down and bring him to John. He tortures him and tells Rachel he will kill her boyfriend if she doesn't return to him and carry out a couple of hits for him, to kill the President of USA, the Prime Minister of Germany, Italy, England, France, and the President of Spain. They are planning to put tough embargo on Russia, which might send the former Soviet Union to ice age due to the production of nuclear weapons and selling them to Middle East. John might be Russian. Or they contact him and pay him a lot of money to take them out and shake things around. John thinks she is the only person who is capable of doing the job and doesn't really give a fuck about if Jim would testify or not. Rachel takes the assignment and kills all of them like a shadow, so she can be with Jim. But Rachel does not trust John. She comes in the night and kills his bodyguards and goons. She has a fight with John, murders him and frees her boyfriend. Let's go back just a little bit and make it even more interesting. Instead, John wants her to assassinate 5 of the most notorious gangsters in the world that master the art of kung fu and have savage bodyguards who know all kinds of martial arts like the Bad Guys and Enter the Dragon starring Bruce Lee. Rachel takes the assignment due to the fact that she knows John would kill Jim if she refuses or hesitates to do what he asks her to do. He also promises her he will let her go free if she completes the mission. Rachel kills the bodyguards and a couple of goons and takes out the 5 most notorious gangsters in the world one by one like Bruce Lee in the Game of Death, except she has to travel around the world and deal with all sorts of cutthroat bad guys. They know she is coming to kill their bosses. They are ready. We might see a lot of shooting and car, motorcycle and helicopter chases scenes like 007 James Bond in the streets of Paris, Berlin, Tokyo, Shanghai and Los Angeles. She then comes after John and kills all his solders in the middle of the day and has a fight with John. She kills him and saves Jim. It might be a little bit similar with Virus starring Chloe Grace Moretz that I told you earlier, a story about a hit girl who goes out and kill bad guys till she falls in love with a hacker, whom she is supposed to kill, and decides to protect him while running away from all kinds of mercenaries and paid assassins hired to kill both of them. We can change the plot of Lady Ice or use a different title. Let's use Pulse and give Chloe dimensions that she can show her acting skill. She inspires me to write Cigarette. Since you are going to play Cigarette, let's give Chloe the benefit of the doubt and write her something beautiful. Besides, she might die in the hand of BB later after they have a breathtaking fight. We don't know it yet. She is with the bad guys in Kill Jr. Volume 3. So we don't want to let down her fans even though it's a 4-minute clip. I can hear her voice in my head saying I want a story about a girl who has nothing to lose. Fox Force 5 was told less than a minute in Pulp Fiction. It ends up inspiring Kill Jr., a story of a bride who extracts revenge after they beat her unconscious, Volume 1 and 2, and has left a room for potential 3 and 4 maybe even. It's up to Quentin. Regardless, what is going to be? Let me see. It's about a girl who becomes the first woman to take part in Red Bull Motorcycle X Game competitions and competes against guys doing various motorcycle stunts including body varial, double backflip and Shaolin backflip. She is fearless. She falls in love with a man named James who has always been trying to push the game to the farthest and takes a lot of chances like by adding extra metal bars to the wheel of the motorcycle, seats, tires and near the pedal and various custom-made devices, and invents all sort of stunts that never seen before in X Games. For instance, a thin bent metal bar that he attached on the far end of his motorcycles helps him to hold on when he does body varial and backflip combination in the air as well as double grab heart attack backflip and cliffhanger. He is the darest devil them of all. He can do all tricks under the sun. That's why he keeps inventing new moves. Some of the tricks that he does leave us breathless. It seems God is watching him. Rachel is right there with him. She doesn't hold anything. They practice together day and night till their motorcycle breaks down. The sport is relatively new to women but Rachel is taught by the best. Her father Louis was a professional motorcycle racer. He taught her how to ride a motorcycle when she was just a little girl. Actually, she was 4 when her mother Madeline left Rachel and her father Louis, who was just an amateur motorcyclist racing in Los Angeles. Madeline married a man named Edward and moved to New York City with him. She used to write them once in a while but stops lately. However, they remain friends. Louis supported her decisions. He doesn't like confrontation. He is laid back. All he cared about was racing and taking care of his daughter. Later, Louis got into a crash and quit racing. He became a stuntman in Hollywood jumping through fire and driving 240 miles per hour in films like Mission Impossible. In the meantime, he taught his daughter some of the best tricks in motorcycles. Rachel visits him once in a while. They are close but he doesn't like Nathan. It's not because he is a bad person but Nathan has a death wish literally. Even if he breaks a leg and is told he can't walk, he will commit suicide. He carries pills with him like in spy films, so the bad guys won't torture them and get information. He knows he can't leave without the sport. He is sponsored by Red Bull. James does not like to go to competitions if he does not have new tricks. Actually he hates doing the same trick he does last year or 6 months ago. It would drive him crazy. The devices that he attaches to his motorcycle are not allowed in X Games. He usually takes a rain check and watches Rachel in TV while cooking. James always runs into trouble with his sponsors. But they know he is the best. They've seen his video on YouTube. He has millions of viewers. Some of the tricks that he does scare Louis. His daughter follows her boyfriend's footstep. Sometimes, Rachel matches him. Sometimes, she tops him. They love to compete against each other. Regardless, her father does not really want her to be with a madman who has death wish. She might break something and find herself buried 6 feet under the ground. This audio file was created by Panopreter Basic. You can download it at www.panopreter.com. She does not like pain either. She carries pills with her as well. It is one of the most dangerous sports them of all. She thinks she has nothing to lose. They have suffered a couple of injuries. But none of them are life-threatening. James continues to push it to the limit as if he were told by a fortune-telling nothing would ever happen to him. He takes Rachel with his wings. She is a different creature when she is on a motorcycle. Nobody knows what she is going to do next. Since James is not there to compete, all eyes are on Rachel in Red Bull X Game competition. She does a couple of breathtaking tricks and wins the tournament. But that is just the beginning. Rachel becomes the face of the sport. She is on the covers of every fashion and sport magazines. She does various photo shoots for coveted magazines including Vanity Fair and Vogue as she continues to put the sport in the map. But Nicholas refuses to follow her footstep. He continues to believe the game lacks tricks. It needs variety. Everybody has been doing the same tricks as long as he remembers. He has seen competitors winning a competition with double backflip every year, which he did long time ago. They should allow him to use his invention in order to give the sport more edge. But X Game organizers tell him it's too dangerous. People might die. It is bad for business. The sport attracts a lot of kids and young people. Their parents bring them to the show. If people die doing one of his tricks, it would be the end of the story. Instead Rachel and Nathan go out in the desert and do all kinds of tricks that he invents, and post them on YouTube. Then one day, they practice in the desert of Mexico. On the soundtrack, American Woman by the Guess Who and Born to be Wild by Steppenwolf. They then decide to race in the desert. Rachel and James tear the sands flying in the air and doing all kinds of tricks as we continue to listen Born to be Wild by Steppenwolf on the soundtrack. They get lost in the desert. They then see a Mexico drug lord named Carlos, a corrupted general named Castro and a Caucasian and their goons and solders executing a couple of witnesses in the desert after they make them dig their own graves. Rachel records them with her cell phone as James watches in shock. Yet, they are spotted at last minutes when her cell phone blasts Joan Jett I Love Rock and Roll. The bad guys come after them. Rachel and James get in their motorcycle and ride down the desert scattering the sands like hurricane and tornado as we listen to I Love Rock and Roll on the soundtrack. The bad guys follow them with pickup trucks and helicopters shooting at them. The devil can't catch them. Rachel and James escape alive, come to their hotel in Mexico City and hide. They talk about giving the video to the Mexico authorities and return to USA in peace. Rachel suggests posting it on YouTube. She tells him she can't trust the government of Mexico. There were corrupted cops who involved in the killing of those innocent people. James says they should just leave this place as soon as possible. It's dangerous. They should go to the USA embassy and give the video to the concealer. Yet before they do anything, the bad guys and Mexico cops find out where they are staying and come to kill them. Rachel and Nathan exit through the window, get on their motorcycles and ride in the streets of Mexico City as the cops and bad guys follow them shooting. They elude their pursuers, jumping over cars, riding through small stores, business establishments, buildings that are in the middle of construction, commerce buildings and restaurants, smashing glasses and windows, moving up and down steps. We see Rachel riding a motorcycle through a building while the bad guys are following her with motorcycles. The bad guys fire at her. She rides down the floor and breaks through the glass and lands on the building across safely and continues to escapes. Rachel and James come to the USA embassy, get down from their motorcycles, show the guards their passports and enter into the building. Yet, the guards refuse to let Mexico cops and the bad guys into the embassy. Rachel and James ask for the counselor. Robert is the counselor. They show him the video. Robert tells them he will keep the video and send them to the USA as soon as possible. The counselor makes a call and arrange a ride. Robert tells Rachel and James a private jet is waiting for them. The U.S. Marines and Secret Service men escort them to the airport with 8 black SUV through Mexico City. They are ambushed by about 50 guerrilla fighters with launcher-like clear and present danger starring Harrison Ford and fire at them. The bad guys kill most of the Marinas and Secret Service men. Rachel and James take the guns from a dead Marina and a Secret Service man fire and kill a couple of bad guys. Rachel starts the car. Rachel and James drive through the chaos as the rebels continue to fire at them. Rachel and James shoot and kill few more bad guys in spectacular action sequences and continue to drive through hell. The bad guys block the road with a truck and point their guns and launchers at Rachel and James. They are the only people who are alive from 8 cars that were driving in the street of Mexico City and are surrounded by entire guerrilla fighters. Rachel and James surrender in peace. The bad guy bring them a chicken factory and place them at a torturing room. They are strapped on electric chairs. The Caucasian man is present. He is CIA. His name is Vincent. We see 2 Mexican guards standing nearby. Vincent asks them to give him the original copy of the video. Rachel tells him to go fuck himself. Vincent electrocutes her in torturing, sending the right amount of electricity into her system. James says they gave it to the U.S. counselor. Vincent electrocutes James. He screams in pain. Vincent tells them I hate asking the same questioning twice. But I will make it exceptional to you. Where did you hide the original copy? I want to know if you make more copies. I need all of them. James swears by his mother grave that they gave everything to the US counselor. He is lying. But he sounds so convincing. Vincent electrocutes him and tells him he doesn't believe him. He wants to know where they hid it. James sticks with his story, they gave it to the counselor. What do we know about politics? The US counselor Robert walks in and tells James, you only gave us the copy, where is the original video? He says they burnt it. Vincent says jokingly, you are not going to swear on your mother grave again, are you, and electrocutes him longer. James screams I should have fucking fried you like KFC. But something tells me this bitch is more stubborn than you. I prefer a lair. The bad news is you cannot believe any word that come out of their mouth. The good news is at least they are talking. Let me work on this slat first and get back with you. Vincent turns his attention to Rachel. Give us the original copy and go home safe. It's not your war. I am not usually nice like this. You have seen the video. I promise first class ticket. Rachel knows they are going to make them dig their own graves and kill them if they gave them the video. She spits on Vincent's face. Go fuck yourself, bitch. I am not afraid of dying. I wake up each day and live as if it were my last second. I will see you in hell. Vincent slaps her with the back of his hand and tells Robert, didn't I just said she was a fucking stubborn? Robert says why don't bring the Mexican? He'll make them talk in a minute. Vincent says, he doesn't speak English. We only use him for Mexicans. Robert asks him, you speak Spanish, don't you? They call the Mexican. A malicious-looking man named Rodriguez come to the interrogation room. Rodriguez pulls out Rachel's nail from her index finger. She screams like a little girl. Robert tells Vincent he has a meeting and leaves. Vincent squeezes Rachel's index finger and makes it bleed more. He then cleans the blood on his fingers on her lips. If you don't tell me where you hid the original copy, I will remove all of your nails from your hands and feet and cut you boyfriend's stomach and pull out his gut while he's still alive. This Mexican is heartless. They call him Dr. Death. He doesn't really kill you. But you wish you are dead. You feel dead. You think you're dead. I don't know how he does it. Nicholas tell Vincent he will give him the copy. He got it with me. It is in his ass. Vincent looks at him weird and gives the 2 bodyguards to check it. They free Nicholas's hands. That's all Nicholas need. The guards are already self-conscious with homophobia. He takes one of bodyguard's gun from his belt and shoot him in the stomach. He shoots the other guard in the face. Nicholas turns around and shoot Vincent 3 times in the chest. He shoots the Mexican in the eye. He quickly frees Rachel. Nicholas grabs Vincent's cell phone. They steal a truck that is loaded with frozen chicken, break the gate and escape. They come driving in the middle of the desert. They haven't eaten for a day. They stop the car. They open the back. Nicholas grabs a frozen chicken. Rachel extracts few gas from the truck and starts fire. James unwrapped the chicken. When they are about to defrost it, James finds a bag of cocaine stuffed inside the kitchen. In flashback, we see hundreds of workers stuffing cocaine in the chicken. It is the biggest cocaine factory in the planet. Then the machines sort the chickens and places them in the freezer. Later they load it in the truck. They cross the US board with no question asked, bring the cocaine to Carlos Chicken Factory in USA and unloads it in the warehouse. About 100 workers extract the cocaine from the chickens, defrost them and sell them in black market. We are back to Rachel and Nicholas. They look at the truck in shock. There are about 500 million worth of cocaine. They can't eat cocaine. But they can't help enjoying the chicken for dinner. The news get to Carlos in the morning. Later, Rachel and Nicholas send Carlos a video of the cocaine truck burning via Vincent's cell phone. Carlos is furious. Vincent is alive. He was wearing a bulletproof vest. It saved his life. Carlos tells Vincent he wants them alive. So he would skin them and feed them to his dogs while they are still breathing. James places first aid on Rachel's index fingers and asks Rachel, you didn't tell me you kept the original copy. Why is that? She tells him, I thought you wouldn't let me take it with me. Where is it? He asks her. She tells him she put it inside her vagina when they attacked them earlier. She pulls the disc out of her private part and gives it to him. James can't believe she has it with her all this time. If vagina sounds kind of loudish, we might replace it with an abandoned building or something. Rachel hid it in under construction building where the bad guys follow her. She goes inside the building with her motorcycle, hide it under a rock. She breaks the glass and escapes through the window as they fire at her in breathtaking action sequences. Rachel and Nicholas go to the build and get the desk. We are going to use that. In order to save time, let's go with the vagina. They can always change it when they film it. Rachel produces the desk out of her vagina. It's get few hormones excited and buy time. I don't know where I am going with the story. Rachel and Nicholas have the disc. They burn Carlos's cocaine. They are the most wanted person in North America. Actually they didn't burn the cocaine. They just burn the chicken. They kept the cocaine for insurance. They purchase a pickup truck with 2 kilos, about $30,000. They are pure. The truck probably cost $10,000. They load the cocaine in pickup truck and come to Xavier's house. Xavier X-Man is an extreme sports athlete. They show him the cocaine. But they don't want to show him the killing video yet. Rachel and Nicholas tell him they don't care about the cocaine. They just want to go home. They thought killing video might disturb Xavier and all of the sudden could become self-conscious. But Xavier is not your typical extreme sports athlete. He is a swindler. He tells them his uncle Jose is a drug lord. He has been fighting the government of Mexico and corrupted officials and CIA for years. Jose might help them. You know what? Let's keep it simple. Jose is not really Xavier's uncle. He is just dating Xavier's sister. Xavier tells them they will sell the cocaine to Jose and they can use the money to cross the border. Rachel, James, and Xavier come to Jose's palace with the cocaine. They shows the cocaine to Jose. He gives them $40 million in cash. The cocaine is worth about $250 million, maybe $500 million. It's pure uncut cocaine. They take the money, buys 2 motorcycles and head to USA, north. On the soundtrack, music plays in ease. They bribes a couple of Mexico official to keep things in their favor. They have a lunch at a romantic restaurant. It's late. It gets dark. This audio file was created by Panopreter Basic. You can download it at www.panopreter.com. Kill Bill 3, Part 4. They come to a motel and pay for all the rooms in the motel and tells the clerk to inform them if there is suspicious activity in the area. He is playing Hey by Julio Iglesias. They buy his stereo and the CD for $10,000. They come to their room, dance slow with Me Olvide de Vivir by Julio Iglesias, kiss and make love. Then in the middle of the night, Vincent and about 23 mercenaries come to kill them. They have already killed the clerk. The bad guys are closing on their room. Nicholas hears footsteps and wakes Rachel. In the meantime, the bad guys kick the door and fire at room. It's a wrong room. It's empty. Rachel and Nicholas quickly put on their clothes and exit through the window. 2 bad guys see them. Rachel fires and kills them. 3 more bad guys come with machine guns. Rachel and Nicholas shoot and kill them and get in their motorcycle and ride down the road the desert. Vincent and the bad guys follow them. It feel like Mad Max Beyond the Sandstorm. They are flying like spaceship through the desert. The bad guys are right behind them shooting. Then comes helicopter. They begin to fire at Rachel and Nicholas. They move faster. I'll keep it short. Rachel takes out the helicopter. They kill more bad guys, including Vincent. They cross the border in Tijuana jumping over the fence, come to the University of San Diego, enter the library, use the computers. They post the video in YouTube. Millions watches it. Robert is arrested. Rachel and Nicholas get back to extreme sport and do what they do best. The end. I just put that together to soften my mind. I'll work on it when I get free time. We just need 4 minutes and might have to use Lady Ice starring Elizabeth as one of the deadliest assassin in the solar system, or Mrs. Ice, a story about a girl who lost her husband and becomes an assassin after she finds out her late husband used to be a hitman. I like Lady Ice's plot. We might have to change title to Ice or leave it as it is. There is a film called Lady Ice starring Donald Sutherland, a story about an insurance investigator, Donald, who involved with a beautiful woman named Paula Booth played by Jennifer O'Neill, whom he suspects of buying stolen diamonds and jewelry, selling them in black market. I saw it when I was a kid. Anyhow, we see the poster of Ice with the image of Elizabeth. She is wearing sunglasses and holding a gun. We see clips as Elizabeth takes out a couple of bad guys with sniper and amazing martial art and ride down the street with her convertible. Elizabeth arrives at the premiere alone with the same convertible. Paparazzi take her pictures and the fans screams her name. Junior is present answering few questions. A couple of movie stars hit the red carpet and take picture with Elizabeth, including some of Junior's cats and the one and the only Sadie. Later, at the party, Junior is told where Kiddo is hiding. He sends one of his cat. I don't have the heart to kill the cats. I am in love with all of them. I can see their faces as if they were beats of my heart. They look tantalizing. Tina aka Linux is played by Jamie Chung. Kenya aka Jaguar is played by Lupita. Natalie aka Cheetah is played by I don't know. Sienna aka Leopard is played by Suki Waterhouse. Sadie aka Tiger is played by Blake Lively. I mentioned her earlier. I saw her in The Town, also starring Ben Affleck and Rebecca Hall, few years ago. I thought she was enchanting. Do I look like I get into a fight? Anyway, I might have to enter in Quentin's mind and finish it as soon as possible and move on the next phase. First victim is Tina aka Linux. She is the equivalent of Lucy Liu. Tina has a lot of respects for Kiddo. She sends her an invitation to meet her at Venice Beach. Beatrix respects her wish, comes to the beach with her Hotro sword. Tina is waiting for her with a bloodthirsty sword. She is wearing a catsuit like Michelle Pfeiffer. She looks seductive. On the soundtrack, we hear Disturbia by Rihanna. Tina tells her it's not personal. I am just following order. Beatrix say, you do what you have to do. Tina says I won't lie to you. If I kill you, I will buy the entire French Riviera tomorrow. You are the most expensive woman in the planet. I don't know what you did in the past and I don't want to know. I'll finish you fast and claim the reward. It's only business. Beatrix says, in case if you wonder, it's a fairy tale. Find yourself a good man, get married, have a couple of toddlers. I will tell you the story to my life from the beginning to the end. You can tell them and your grandchildren if you are willing to walk away. I don't get satisfaction from killing a cat that once upon a time used to be a princess. But she loved milk more than anything else in the world. She drank a lot of milk, turned into a lynx and goes underground hunting in the forest. But if money is more appealing to you than fairy tale, I wish you good luck. I don't usually wish my opponent any luck at all but sweet dream if they are nice. If they are naughty, I'll hit them 5 pressure points and watch their heart explode inside their body after they take 5 steps and die silently. I can tell by cloth that you are wearing. You seem naughtiest bitch in the state of California. And then again appearance can be deceiving. Am I wrong? Tina says you will find it out, sweetheart. They begin to fight. They clash their swords like true warriors. It is one of the most spectacular sword fights in the history of cinema. Beatrix then hits Tina in the neck, pressure point, she then hits her in the chest with her palm, with a deadly blow. Tina spites blood, fall down and dies. Beatrix walks away. Later, FBI are put in charge of the murder investigation. LAPD are told to step aside. Bibi and Nikki come to the crime scene and investigate the case. Bibi knows that her mother killed the victim just by looking at the wound in the victim's chest. There is a palm mark on Tina's chest. Early reports at the morgue also shows how she sustained a deadly blow in the neck. Nikki is not stupid either. She knows the same killer who slaughtered the Japanese must have killed Tina as well, and suspects Kiddo. She can see the ghost of her mother standing right in front of the body at the morgue. Vernita tells her you are getting closer, baby. I'm proud of you. Just do what you have to do and kill that bitch yourself. In the meantime, Junior gets the news. He is sad, but Junior is like his father. To begin with, Cool can't even describe his character. He might be sadistic killer but he has eternal calmness like David Carradine. God bless his soul whatever he might be. I remember the first time I saw David Carradine was in Lone Wolf McQuade starring Chuck Norris and Barbara Carrera. He played a bad guy. I used to hate bad guys when I was a little kid. I hated Angel Eyes, the bad, played by Lee Van Cleef in The God, the Bad, the Ugly. I hated him with vengeance. David Carradine was in my blacklist as well. Yet there is love scene between Chuck Norris and Barbara in the mud. It has printed in my millions memories forever and might have got the inspiration for Taylor Swift's music video that I told you earlier from Lone Wolf McQuade. Memories are beautiful. I can still see Barbara Carrera's eyes. However, information can also be painful. She gets killed in both Lone Wolf McQuade and James Bond's Never Say Never Again starring Sean Connery and Kim Basinger. I was sad when Barbara gets shot in Lone Wolf McQuade. In Never Say Never Again, she played a sadistic killer and knew what was coming to her till she got blown away. Yet, how do we know something is supposed to be pleasant or painful if we can erase our memories from slat? You know, if you show a 4-year-old baby a video of a man shooting another person, he would smile figuratively speaking. He doesn't know the difference between right and wrong, but adults reacts differently toward violence regardless of what it is. For instance in Reservoir Dog, most audiences cannot pass the ear-cutting scene when Mr. Blonde cuts the cop's ear off. The thing that a lot of people don't know about Quentin is he does not hold back anything. He is one of those writers who exercise his demons on his script, internal as well as external. If anyone crosses him, he would take it to the screen. They might get shot in the faces by accident or gets their ears cut off. That cop in the Reservoir Dogs might have given him a ticket in real life for speeding or bit his nipple in a fight or something. It's supposed to be comedy like the dialogue in the opening scene at the coffee shop. Mr. Pink says he doesn't tip. They ask him why he does not tip. He doesn't believe in tip. Besides, the waitress didn't do anything special. They tell him what's something special, take you in the kitchen and suck your dick. That is a joke. But sometimes, it's personal. Like the pimp that Clarence shot in the face in True Romance. One point in Quentin's life, not Drexel but an asshole must have told him something that pissed him off, so he created Drexel and sent him a message. That is just a peace of mind. I used to do the same thing long time ago. But I stopped after I got into romance. Compared to Quentin, mine are usually internal. It could be spiritual. I can't just throw hot boiling water on their faces and punch them till their faces explode on my hand and their blood splatter on my faces like Tony Jaa in Ong Bak 3. That's violent. I will take it back. The little voice in my head has been driving me crazy as far as I remember. I just don't know what it want. Trying to throw him off guard. I can't talk about violent in the same rain of thoughts with true romance. What I lack in peace in my soul, I try to make up with madness like in Kill Jr. Volume 1. True Romance is one of my favorite films of all time. It's a love story even though there are moments that make you feel alive including when Alabama lost it. She shoots and kills a man with a shotgun. He thought he was cute, and wanted to show her some kung fu and all. She blows him away and continues to hit him with the butt of the shotgun, saying the prayer of Saint Francis of Assisi, Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace / where there is hatred, let me sow love / where there is injury, pardon / where there is doubt, faith / where there is despair, hope / where there is darkness, light / and where there is sadness, joy / O divine master, grant that I may not / so much seek to be consoled as to console / to be understood as to understand / to be loved as to love / for it is in giving that we receive / it is pardoning that we are pardoned / and it is in dying that we are born / to eternal life. You don't see that in the movie, only in the original screenplay written by Quentin. But wait, Saint Francis of Assisi was the first person who received the stigmata of Christ, am I wrong? It's weird. Patricia Arquette was the star of True Romance and went out to play Frankie in Stigmata. It's a story about a girl who bears the wounds of Christ's passion and stigmata. That film has inspired me to write a couple of screenplays. It's just occurred to me now. It's funny how the subconscious mind works. In True Romance, Clarence and Alabama talk about Spider-Man in comic books. In the script, Clarence says Spider-Man is the story of Christ in disguised. First I didn't get it. Then I watched Spider-Man starring Tobey Maguire. Spider-Man shoots webs from his wrists. Christ was crucified on a cross, nails through his wrists according to experts. I guess the web symbolizes the passion of Christ. They come out of Peter Parker's wrists. Later, Emma Stone played Stacy Gwen in The Amazing Spider-Man starring Andrew Garfield. Emma is BB. It might be a kismet. Something is trying to tell me. Should Junior and his cats kill Kiddo and crucify BB on the cross? She then comes down from the cross and takes revenge for the death of her mother. Even thought I just said I was not going to kill the bride in order to avoid history lesson and be in good term with Uma Thurman and Quentin? It's so tempting. But that's where trouble comes to paradise, you can't please everybody. I keep hearing that psychopathic Hannibal Lecter voice in my head saying simplicity. It's not hard to picture it. BB just kills them one by one. In the end, she kills Junior after they have a historical fight and completes her revenge like the bride in Kill Junior Volume 1 and 2. Yet, that's up to Quentin. You should always go with your instinct when your brain plays tricks on you. However, I don't trust Hannibal. We would do it differently. The bride will live for a while. Regardless, before I forget about Kim Basinger. Who can resist Kim in 91 Halves Weeks when she gets freakish in the famous food scene and dances with Joe Cocker's You Can Leave Your Hat On? I will take my time and top that soon or later. Anyway, let's go back to Kill Junior 3 or 4 and work on it. We are at Junior's house. It is a palace. It looks like a drug lord house. We see bodyguards standing everywhere. This audio file was created by Panopreter Basic. You can download it at www.panopreter.com. They are carrying machine guns and keeping the area safe. Junior is at the living room watching Sadie dance with Barracuda by heart mixed with modern dance beat like Jennifer Beals in Flashdance. I brought Jennifer Beals earlier. I did not want to let her go without getting something seductive out of the film. Actually, Junior's house is a movie studio. We see film cameras everywhere. There is a video of Jennifer Beals in Flashdance playing in the background. Sadie nails every move that Jennifer Beals did in Flashdance, including sitting on the chair and splashing water on herself and banging the chair. The only difference is the music. In Flashdance, Alexandra, played by Jennifer Beals, was dancing with Shandy Cinnamon He's Dream. Sadie is dancing with Barracuda and Dance Beat. She even adds a couple of her own choreographic dance, striping her clothes one by one. Sadie then comes to Junior without a single drop of cloth. They kiss and make love on the sofa. His assistant Sophia walks in with a file. She is the equivalent of Sophie. She waits them till they reach climax. Sophia then approaches Junior and gives him the file. It's the profile of BB. It says she works for FBI. Everything is there. Junior knows she is his half-sister and doesn't have the heart to kill his own flesh and blood, does he? Junior just looks at the picture for a long second. He is hesitating. Sadie, who is naked, says, "Do you want me to bring the bitch's heart while still beating outside her body?" Junior says, "No. You might kill her. She is my sister. I will just send Kenya instead." He grabs his cell phone, kisses Sadie French, and tells her he will ask her few questions like where her mother is hiding. Sadie asks him what if she kills her? Kenya is mean. Junior says, death is a part of life. He calls Kenya and tells her I want you to do me a favor. Sophia will give you the assignment. You might want to take it easy on her. She is my beloved sister. I love her to death. He winks at Sophia to give Kenya BB's information. Sophia nods her head and leaves. Junior tells Kenya I love you and hangs up the phone. Sadie and Junior kiss intimately and continue to make love on the sofa. Kenya is in her convertible driving in the streets of LA. On the soundtrack, she parks her car at FBI headquarters parking lot, gets out of the car, opens the trunk, and grabs a tennis bag. She puts a silencer on her gun and head to the bureau. She enters the building. The gun has a laser beam. Kenya kills a couple of FBI agents in her way to BB's office, the main floor. She is barbarous. She shoots them in the faces, blows their brains off, breaks their necks with deadly martial art or hits them with nasty kung fu and puts them unconscious. BB and Kenya exchange fire dodging bullets like Neo and the agents in the Matrix. Kenya then tells BB let's go to the rooftop and fight or I will detonate the entire building to the ground. In quick flashback, a man named Jacob, who is working for Kenya, comes to the ladies' restroom disguised as a janitor, places a bomb at far end of the box and sets the timer. He then puts a sign that says out of order on the door and walks away. The bomb continues to tick. A woman across the street had a drink named Selena. We return back to BB and Kenya at main floor. Kenya tells her to drop her gun. BB can't trust her and hesitates to do what she is told to do. Kenya opens her tennis bag and takes out 2 oxygen masks. The agents continue to fire at Kenya. But Kenya can see the bullets coming toward her in slow motion and avoids them easily as if they were rocks thrown by babies. She still has to take a cover. BB's bullets seem to come at her with full speed. Yet, Kenya continues to come out the hide, kills federal agents and hides back. In the meantime, Kenya knows she doesn't have a lot of time. She throws BB an oxygen mask and tells her to put it on. BB puts it on. Kenya throws ninja nerve gas at the FBI employees. They explode, emit smokes, and put all of them unconscious. Kenya then comes out of the hide, pointing her gun at BB and tells her to drop her gun and fight her on the rooftop. BB drops her gun and agrees to fight her. BB and Kenya are on the rooftop of the federal building. Kenya tells BB she will write down where the bomb is location and the code to stop it on a piece of paper and puts it in her pocket, and if BB wins, she can take it from her pocket and stop the bomb. If she loses, not only everybody in the building will die but she also has to tell her where her mother is hiding. She has to write it down on a piece of paper and put it in her pocket. They have only 10 minutes. Kenya is the equivalent of Vernita. She adds sorry for the mess I created down there. I could have taken you out from top of a building. But it is not a hit. It is a duel. You're kind of cute. I like your sense of style. But we are going to dress all in black and have us a knife fight to finish it as soon as possible. She takes out 2 beautiful black dresses, 2 knives, 2 black pens, 2 black sunglasses and 2 pieces of papers from her tennis bag. Kenya tells her they are going to strip down their clothes and put them on. Kenya grabs a dress, a knife, a pen, sunglasses, and a piece of paper and stands aside, so BB can put them on. They both remove their clothes and puts the dresses. BB writes down something on the paper, so does Kenya. She writes down the location where the bomb is at and the code, and inserts it in her pocket. They both put on the sunglasses and grabs the knives and begin to fight. On the soundtrack, Katy Perry California Girls plays. They are fast. As a matter of fact, we have never seen anything so deadly with knives like these 2 girls. If one of them makes a mistake, she will find a knife deep in her skin. However, it's not only a knife fight. It's a kung fu. The knives are excuse. BB and Kenya are punching and kicking whenever their knives are not doing what they are supposed to do. They exchange a couple of martial art blows. They remove their sunglasses and draw each other's blood with their knives as well as kung fu punches and kicks. Yet, BB knows she does not have a lot of time. She has to finish her as soon as possible. BB closes her eyes, throws her knife toward the sky and envisions a move that the ghost of Pyami taught her. Everything is in slow motion. She then opens her eyes as Kenya is about to hit her. BB blocks Kenya's attack and then does one of the most graphic martial art moves in cinema. This audio file was created by Panopreter Basic. You can download it at www.panopreter.com. BB hits her a pressure point on her neck. Kenya's mouth opens like a hungry cat. Her jaw is locked. She can't move it. BB quickly tackles Kenya and pulls her hair toward the sky. Kenya's eyes are watching the gods while she is on her knees. The knife comes down from the sky, goes through her mouth and sticks deep in her throat. Blood fills her mouth in a heartbeat, comes out of her mouth, rolls down by her chin and falls down on the ground, so does she. Kenya falls flat on her face and dies. Blood continues to pour out of her mouth. BB quickly retrieves the information from Kenya's pocket. The bomb is placed in the 50th floor. The bomb continues to click. BB has less than 1 minute. If she runs down the building and takes the elevator, she will not make it. She goes through Kenya's bag. There is a ninja robe. BB takes the robe, ties it against a water tube. She then knots it around her waist, holds the robe, jumps from the building, flies in the air, kicks and crashes through the window of 50th floor in the ladies' restroom. BB removes the robe from her waist and stops the bomb at 0001. She washes her face and looks at herself in the mirror. A sniper fires at her across the building. The bullet hits the tip of her ear and explodes in the mirror. It is Jacob. He is the same man who planted the bomb earlier. Jacob fires at her again. BB just lets the bullets pass by her as if they were debris of her imagination and looks at the man who is firing at her across the building. Jacob is scared of her. He stops shooting, grabs his gun, puts it in a bag and runs for his life. We stay with Jacob as he continues to run down the staircase like a madman. It's a 5-star hotel. Not like it matters. He then comes an elevator, enters and presses a button going to 1st floor. The elevator moves down and opens at the lobby. It is heaven. Jacob takes half step. Then it is darkness. BB shoots him in the head. His brain splatters against the elevator's walls with blood like Billy Costigan played by Leonardo DiCaprio in The Departed. He didn't see it coming. BB turns around and walks away. We cut to Junior as he films a new movie titled The Touch of Pure Evil starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Elizabeth, and Christian Bale. It's loosely based on The Touch of Evil, starring Charlton Heston, Janet Lynn, and Orson Welles. The story tells Michelangelo played by Leonard, who is former DEA, now works as a private investigator, and his wife Maria played by Elizabeth just witnessed the explosion of a church right after a wedding ceremony killing a bride and a groom, Tatiana and Alberto, and their friends and families at the exit. Wait, let me use Emma instead, and changes it back to Elizabeth. She might be too young. I am creating the story as I go. Michelangelo begins to investigate the case along with a corrupted special agent Richard played by Christian Bale and his partner Agent John. The main suspect is Vincent, who was in love with Tatiana, the victim. He might have killed her out of jealousy. He is the son of Rodriguez, a notorious Mexican drug lord. Michelangelo comes to Vincent's house to question him. Richard and John are already there. They are in the middle of intriguing him. Actually, they has tied him on a chair naked and are in the middle of beating him with a chain in order to get a confession. They tell Michelangelo to feel free to prepare a coffee. As long as he doesn't fuck up, he can make himself home. Michelangelo, who is sickened by their inconvenient method, goes to the bathroom to wash his face. He opens the mirror box looking for any pill. There is none. He opens the faucet drawer. It is empty. He steps outside, calls Maria with his cell phone and tells her he missed her. She says she loves him. Michelangelo then returns to the house. Seconds later, John finds a device that is used to make bomb. They tell Michelangelo it is the same explosive device that was planted at the church. Vincent says he has never seen that before. Michelangelo asks John where he found the evidence. He tells him in the faucet drawer. Michelangelo just looked there earlier and didn't see anything. It was empty. Regardless, they arrest Rodriguez and take him away. Michelangelo accuses Richard of planting the evidence and begins to suspect that he may have been doing so for years, to help win convictions. Richard dismisses his claim, saying he has a wild imagination but does not know what it is really going on and tells him to stay away from his crime scenes. It's a federal case. Michelangelo, who is not convinced that Vincent planted the bomb in the church, continues to conduct his own investigation. Michelangelo contacts a girl named Jennifer, who works for FBI. She gives him a classified file of Richard's previous cases. Michelangelo looks at the records. To his none surprise, every person that Richard arrested denied the existence of such evidence. In the meantime, Maria shops at the department store. A man is taking her photos without her knowledge. She puts on a beautiful dress, comes out of the dressing room and shows the dress to Carolina, the clerk. She is her friend. Carolina tells her she looks beautiful. The man continues to take her pictures. In the other hand, Michelangelo shows the finding to the chief of police, Robert, and the district attorney, Roger, but there is nothing they can do about it. Michelangelo also refuses to implicate Jennifer for the sake of her safety. The district attorney cannot prosecute Richard without knowing where the information came from. In the meantime, words get in the way of Richard. He contacts Maria, who works for Los Angeles Times as a journalist. Richard and Maria sit and have lunch at a restaurant outside. She is interested in interviewing Richard about the drug battle and writing article on should USA legalize drug or not, and the explosion of the church, which claimed the lives of bride, groom, their families and friends. Maria also believes there is conspiracy theory. The same photographer, who has been taking her picture earlier, approaches them and snaps the pictures of Maria and Richard without their permission while pretending to be photographing lovers. He asks them if they are lovers. Richard says they are just friends. The photographer asks them if he can use their picture for his photo book and adds he meant no offense. You look amazing together. It's for breast cancer charity. My wife is one of the few survivals out of millions who die every day around the world. Richard jokingly says, actually, we are a couple. He cuddles Maria. The man quickly snaps their photo. Richard squeezes her breasts suggestively as the camera light flashes. He tells him, "Are you happy? Now get lost." The man walks away. Richard apologizes to Maria. He tells her he lost his mother to breast cancer, gets so anxious whenever they bring the subject and does weird things to avoid emotional pain. It won't happen again. The words mother, pain, and cancer kind of throw her back. She feels his lose, gives him a kind smile and says, "Don't worry about it." Maria is interested in the conspiracy and lets it go. They continue to talk about illegal drugs. They seem they are having good time. Richard is seducing her without her knowledge. The photographer takes more pictures of Maria and Richard while hiding. In meantime, Michelangelo comes to the restaurant to surprise Maria with a rose. It is her favorite spot. He sees her with Richard and is not happy but acts cool. Michelangelo does not want to make a scene. They all sit and have lunch talking about the case. Richard makes a comment: if you have to lie, cheat, rape, kill, sleep with your enemy's wife, outlaw or legalize drug, it won't make a difference. But just do what you have to do in order to make the world a better place. He gets up and leaves. Maria asks Michelangelo what's going on. He tells her the truth. Richard has been planting false evidence in order to get false convictions. He might be responsible for the death of those people in the church. Maria tells him she will publish the story. However, Michelangelo advises her not to publish it yet. He knows why Richard came to have lunch with Maria. It is a threat. Michelangelo says he doesn't have any evidence. Maria doesn't believe him but understands what it is going on. Later Michelangelo watches a news. The news anchor says a man named Frank is killed. He is Mexican drug lord. Michelangelo is then contacted by a man named Tim, ex-CIA, to meet him at a strip club. Tim tells Michelangelo he does not know half of the story. There is a war going on. Richard, Federal Bureau of Investigation and Central Intelligence Agency are working for the Colombians. They are trying to get rid of all Mexico drug dealers from USA soil and allow only the Colombians to monopolize the trafficking estimated $150 billion business, which is the backbone of USA economy and run by the government of USA, under CIA and FBI, and Democratic Republic of Colombia. He says it is more important than oil. Tim shows Michelangelo photos of Mexican drug lords who are either killed or spending life behind bars. Some of them are accused falsely of evidence planted by Richard. Tim then leaves the club. A stranger sits next to Michelangelo and gives him an envelope. There are the pictures of Maria taken at the shopping mall, Victoria's Secret. He quickly runs to his wife and finds Maria cooking. She is safe. They have a romantic dinner in candlelight, dance slow, conversing and exchanging soft kisses. He tells her he loves her so much. She tells him she loves him too. They kiss and make love all night. Later, Tim is found murdered. The cops questions Michelangelo. They have found evidence that implicate him, which were planted by Richard and John. Michelangelo is arrested. They put him in jail. He is then approached by Roger, the DA. He knows Michelangelo is innocent. Roger tells him he destroyed all the evidence against him. You are free to go home. However, he can convict neither Richard nor FBI or CIA. As the matter fact, some of the senators, congressmen, even the vice president and the head of state. He has convicted a lot of people based on evidence that are planted unlawfully, but they all were guilty. However, I cannot convict an innocent man. He is resigning. Roger has already called Maria. She drives Michelangelo home. But he cannot forget the explosion of the church and the bride and the groom from his thoughts. It's haunting his memory. He thinks justice must be served. But whom should he turn to? He can't trust the government of USA. They are in it. All he can think is Mexico. Michelangelo tells Maria to drive to Mexico. He wants to meet the president. They fill the gas tank, cross the border and drive to Mexico City. Michelangelo contacts a couple of officials. He shows them classified files. They arrange a meeting. Michelangelo and Maria meet Ramirez, the president of Mexico. Michelangelo tells him what is happening. Ramirez tells them, "Why should I care? USA is doing us a favor. Mexico is rich with culture, diversity, tradition, and natural resource. It was the mainstay of all civilization. The cartels have been causing a lot of problems the past few decades and almost destroyed the essence of Mexico, the nation of braves. They would have sent us back to the dark age if it were not for artists, athletes, musicians, hard-working citizens, and football. I was 12 sitting with my father at the stadium of here in Mexico City when Maradona scored a goal with his hand and minutes later he dribbled past 6 English players including the goalkeeper and placed the ball in the net. I know he is from Argentina. I am not going to say it's the same thing. I have a top priority to make Mexico the greatest nation in world and it's my responsibility to do whatever necessary. And talking about Diego Armando Maradona, the spirit that was present in heart and took over his hand, feet, mind and soul was the Mexico god of sport. I think Mexico is better without the cartels. Michelangelo tells the president we know they are breaking law. But they are still the citizen of Mexico. The government of Mexico should deal with them instead of USA. A lot of innocent people are killed unjustifiably. Most of them are Mexicans. Ramirez asks him what you want me to do about it. Michelangelo tells him to address the issue to the United Nations and tell USA to stop killing innocent people and how the government of Mexico should deal with the cartels. It must be done justly. Ramirez agrees to address the problem to the UN. Michelangelo gives him evidence that could incriminate CIA. The president gives them the best hotel in Mexico City to stay. Michelangelo is contacted by Mexican cartel named Carlos. He tells Maria he will go talk to him and advises her not to leave the hotel. Michelangelo and Carlos, played by Benicio del Toro, talk. He tells him USA solved half of my problem. Basically, I am the only drug lord in Mexico. Most of them are dead. The ones who are still alive are small time. This audio file was created by Panopreter Basic. You can download it at www.panopreter.com. Kill Bill 3, Part 5. I don't worry about them. I can have them killed in the morning if I want to. But that's not what I want to talk to you about. The USA allow me to run my business in Mexico as long as I don't cross the border and must also provide them information. I am a puppet put by CIA. I don't like it. I feel like a traitor. Do I have a choice? I doubt it. But I am very ambitious man. I know I make dirt in Mexico. It feeds my children, puts roofs above my head and buys me few cars, swimming pools and tennis court. You get the point. But it won't feed my ego. There is a parable in the Bible of the 3 servants. Quoting the Bible, a man is about to go on a long trip. He called together his servants and entrusted his money to them while he was gone. He gave 5 bags of silver to one, 2 bags of silver to another, and 1 bag of silver to the last, dividing it in proportion to their abilities. He then left on his trip. The servant who received the 5 bags of silver began to invest the money and earned 5 more. The servant with 2 bags of silver also went to work and earned 2 more. But the servant who received the 1 bag of silver dug a hole in the ground and hid the master's money. After a long time their master returned from his trip and called them to give an account of how they had used his money. The servant to whom he had entrusted the 5 bags of silver came forward with 5 more and said, "Master, you gave me 5 bags of silver to invest, and I have earned 5 more." The master was full of praise. "Well done, my good and faithful servant. You have been faithful in handling this small amount, so now I will give you many more responsibilities. Let's celebrate together." The servant who had received the 2 bags of silver came forward and said, "Master, you gave me 2 bags of silver to invest, and I have earned 2 more." The master said, "Well done, my good and faithful servant. You have been faithful in handling this small amount, so now I will give you many more responsibilities. Let's celebrate together." Then the servant with the 1 bag of silver came and said, "Master, I knew you were a harsh man, harvesting crops you didn't plant and gathering crops you didn't cultivate. I was afraid I would lose your money, so I hid it in the earth. Look, here is your money back." But the master replied, "You wicked and lazy servant. If you knew I harvested crops I didn't plant and gathered crops I didn't cultivate, why didn't you deposit my money in the bank? At least I could have gotten some interest on it." Then he ordered, "Take the money from this servant, and give it to the one with the 10 bags of silver. To those who use well what they are given, even more will be given, and they will have an abundance. But from those who do nothing, even what little they have will be taken away. Now throw this useless servant into outer darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth." Sometimes, the Bible even tells you greed is good. The real money is in USA. I want most of it. But that can wait. I was informed what you are trying to do. I am here to tell you. They are going to kill the President of Mexico. It is sad. There is nothing you or me can do about it. Just go back to your hotel and make sure your wife is safe. Michelangelo becomes concerned when his attempts to telephone Maria at the hotel are blocked. Richard has followed them to Mexico and conspired with some corrupted officials, arranging for Maria to be beaten, raped, kidnapped, injected with drugs, and taken to a regular hotel in town. In the meantime, Richard, who has already killed Jennifer, the FBI employee, has placed her dead body in the hotel, planting evidence that indicate Michelangelo as the killer. He comes to the hotel and cannot find Maria but sees the body of Jennifer on the floor. There is blood on the bed. It belongs to Maria. Michelangelo then discovers a matchbox. It has the address of a bar named Pretty Coyotes. He places it in his pocket and walks away. Michelangelo does not trust Mexico officials anymore and begins to search for Maria. Meanwhile, he finds out the Mexican president is just killed by a bomb planted in his car. We see it in quick flashback. Michelangelo is left alone to fight for justice. He is also a wanted man for the murder of Jennifer. Michelangelo enters a bar, Pretty Coyotes, and confronts the gang members who attacked his wife. He asks them where Maria is. They refuse to answer his questions. Michelangelo savagely beats them down after a fight broke up and burns down the bar in the process. Michelangelo is then informed that Maria has been arrested for the murder of Jennifer. He comes to see her and finds her she is barely conscious and were beaten badly. Mendoza, of Mexico City, tells Michelangelo Maria is innocent. She can go home. John is present. He informs him he discovered Richard's hip flask at the hotel. They want him to meet Richard. Michelangelo wears a wire and meets Richard. He admits to Michelangelo that he planted evidence on people, but insists that he did so only because he knew they were guilty. Michelangelo asks him what about the killing of Mexico drug dealers and innocent people. He is just carrying out an order. Michelangelo asks him who gives the order. He jokingly tells him God. He looks at the sun and adds, it amazes me all those people who concern about nature. They think Earth will be around forever. But they forgot one day the sun will consume everything. But that doesn't concern me. What amazes me is there are countless basted like this sun in the skies and planets orbit around them. They tell you God created us in His image. But what they don't tell you is no two men are created equal. Some are genius. Some are fuck up. Regardless, someone have to take a quantum leap and make a different. You know, lead the way. Maybe, someday we will pick up our stuffs, travel through space and populate the universe. We have to do whatever must be done. I knows you are wearing a wire, but I do not care. This is beyond us. Have you asked yourself why you are still alive? He then shows him the photo of himself squeezing Marion's breast that is taken earlier. Richard takes out a lighter, burns the picture, produces a hip flask from his pocket, has a sip and offers him the drink. Michelangelo says no thanks, removes the wire, throws it away and asks Richard who is behind it. Richard tells him to follow him. They walk toward a cathedral in the middle of nowhere. A wedding ceremony is in progress. It's a holy matrimony of an American woman and a Mexican man. There are about 200 guests inside the church. Michelangelo and Richard stand in the back. He tells him it is a treason to sell out your country. But don't feel bad. Treason is the best crime that a man can commit if he believes the country that gave him so-called freedom might be up to no good. A bomb will go off in few minutes. We are going to frame Carlos. Since one of the victim more likely is going to be American citizen, Carlos will be extradited to USA and spend the rest of his life behind bars, or they would just kill him in prison after they empty his Swiss account. That is why we do not usually assassinate them in cold blood or put them out of their misery. It is business. Most of them have stashed billions in safe places. But in the end they all tell you where they keep them after few electric shocks. We then use the money to run this program. We won't profit by killing you. Have fun for a while. He looks at his watch. We have exactly 2 minutes to clear the area, or you can stay and warn them to exit safely. It is up to you. A car comes driving and pulls outside the church. Richard says, "Adios amigo," exits the building and gets in the passenger seat. The car drives away. Michelangelo takes out his gun from his foot holster, fires at the roof, tells the people there is a bomb. They have to clear the area as soon as possible. People scream and begin to exit, stepping on each other. The groom holds the bride's hand and runs toward the exit with her. It is kind of romantic. There is a little girl, ring bearer. She falls down on the floor. When they are about to step on her, Michelangelo dives in the air and covers her. Instead they step on him and continue to exit. Almost everybody clears the church. Michelangelo and the little girl is the last person in the building. There is blood on Michelangelo's face from the stepping and kicking. He is half conscious. But he collects all his strength and gets up while carrying the little girl. They exit the cathedral. Then there is a big explosion. Michelangelo hits the ground shelling the girl. When the dust settles, the family of the little girl come and take her away. She is fine. But Michelangelo might need a medical attention. He is bleeding from his head. His face is covered with blood and dirt. He looks like he just comes out of World War II. Yet, he cleans the blood off his face with his t-shirt, brushes the pain aside, borrows a car and drives down the street with full speed. He is after Richard. Michelangelo increases the speed, driving like a madman. He then sees the car that has Richard. John is behind the wheel. Michelangelo catches up to them and fires at Richard. But the window is bulletproof. Richard gives him a middle finger to insult him. John tries to drive him off the road. Michelangelo steps on the brake, slows down a little bit and continues to follow them. The cars arrive at a bridge. Michelangelo drives faster and passes them. He moves farther down the bridge and turns his car the opposite direction facing them. Michelangelo then drives toward the direction of the bad guys, Richard and John. He steps on the gas, moves faster, turns his wheel just a little bit and hits them on the side with full speed. The two cars collide hard. The car that is carrying Richard and John is on the edge of the bridge. It is about to go over the bridge held by a wire. Michelangelo's car is also held by a wire as well. But one of the front tires is on solid ground. Michelangelo steps on the gas and forces Richard's car to go over the bridge. It crashes in the river. So does Michelangelo. His car follows the bad guy's car into the river. Michelangelo manages to open the car and jumps into the water just in time as the car hits the river. They all get washed away by the river. We doubt if either Richard or John makes it alive. The car is filled with water. We see blood coming out Richard's nose stripped to his seat belt. If he is not dead, he must be unconscious. Yet, Michelangelo is barely alive. His body is just get washed away by the river along with the car. He shows a sign of life by trying to swim. Luckily, he finds a branch, holds onto it, collects his power and gets out of the water. In the meantime, the river takes Richard, who might be alive or dead, and his partner John, sleeping in the car covered with blood, the hip flask floating, and drops them in big smoking waterfall. We can surely say they are dead. Michelangelo throws up water that he drank unwillingly. He takes a couple of steps and falls unconscious from exhaustion. Fade to black. Then a fox comes and bites him on the leg. That wakes him up. He gets up and walks down the desert. He comes to the main road. A woman, who happens to be driving alone, gives Michelangelo a ride to the nearest town. She looks like Marlene Dietrich. It's to honor the legendary actress or might be played by Diane Kruger. It doesn't matter. I just put it together. Diane might play a major role like district attorney or Richard's lover like Marlene Dietrich in the original film. We will write her a major part. Regardless, she drops Michelangelo at the hospital. He gets medical attention, returns to the USA and visit Maria at the hospital. He has brought her a rose. They kiss French. Michelangelo climbs on her medical bed. They talk between soft kisses and kiss intimately. The doctor enters the room, looking at Maria's chart, sees them, excuses the couple and exits the room. Michelangelo and Maria smile in wonder and kiss more passionately. The end. This audio file was created by Panopreter Basic. You can download it at www.panopreter.com.